Folks, it's that time again. Welcome to So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Thursday episode. That's right, we are once again going to talk about the Valley. I'm all right. Everything is all right. Ding, 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 ding. Nothing is all right. Even though we sent him to Hawaii, the Valley still has a dark energy. Oh, folks, I have been dreading this recap all day. We're at the point in the season where I'm like, come on, let's just call it a day. We saw what we needed to see. Nobody has a redemption arc. Let's just put it to bed. Yet, once more, we go into the breach. We will cover this. We will laugh at this. We will take a show that is primarily the darkest of the dark, and we will try to find ways to laugh at this and them and me, not you. You're awesome. How are you guys? Are you good? Good. Gosh, I've been in a piss. I woke up on the wrong side of the waterbed today. I think, by the way, I don't think I'm the only one in a pissy mood today. I think everybody, I've seen a couple comments online were pissy. Everybody seems pissy. So let's try to lighten it up by talking about Jax Taylor, folks, and Janet, another great episode. Oh my God, Janet, help me help you. Like this. Oh man, it's like you have Jax Taylor. This should be an easy slam dunk for everybody this season. Just put it all on Jax, and he deserves it. But like there are multiple people that are acting horrendously. And the reality of the reality is you would not include certain people in your friend group at all. I mean, Nia and Danny, there's no way in hell that they would ever want to hang out with Janet and Jason at this point ever again. I mean, listen, nobody really hangs out with Jax anymore, except Tom Schwartz. Oh, this is my lot in life. I just hang out with Jax and Tom and collect paychecks. I watched the Valley After show today, and there were another bunch, like a handful of moments where Schwartz was like dissociating, just looking into the distance as Jax talked. I can't believe this is my life. Oh, I hope I can buy a bunch of new flowers with this paycheck or plants. Oh, it is wild, you guys. It is so funny is that this show, I keep saying this, but it really does put us in the driver's seat. And I think some of us have fooled ourselves in that we work in casting, that we're like, let go of this one, let go of that one. Like I feel like every time we say let go of somebody, they're like, we're going to keep them even more than we were even planning on. I've seen everybody like, get rid of Janet, get rid of Jax. I do want to point out that these shows usually thrive in conflict, but thriving and enjoying are actually two different things nowadays. And it is weird. Like so many people are watching this show and so many people are hating this show. Yet I would not classify this as a hate watch. That is primarily reserved for And Just Like That, which a new episode is on tonight, and I can't wait, you guys. I shit you not. Everybody thinks I'm kidding when I'm like, oh man, every week I wait till it hits the Max app at like 6 p.m. and I am in it. Like I love to hate And Just Like That so much. I don't hate watch The Valley, but yes, it gives me a bad feeling. I think actually I feel a little better when I talk to you guys and I'm able to make my stupid dad jokes about it. But other than that, I walk away with this uneasy feeling that I'm like, in no way would this encourage anybody to have a friend group. I mean, honestly, you'd be like, you know what? Friend groups might be okay up until your 30s and then just cut them loose. There's no good. And do not, whatever money is thrown at you, do not put a camera on your friend group. It just seems to inspire some horrible, horrendous behavior. But this week, I've seen so many people say they do not want Jax Taylor on this. I think there was a change.org petition that got over, was it like over 50,000 or was it 100,000 signatures? Which reminded me, I'm so childish. By the way, I did this a couple years ago. Oh God, 3 or 4 years ago, I did a change.org petition for Austin Kroll to never be on Summer House again, because he would always go, remember that bad season for him where he was like, thought he was hot shit. And then he was hooking up with Sierra and Lindsay, and he kept visiting the summer house. And so I started a change.org petition. And, just, I don't know them in real life, but from what I was seeing, I did not want him on the show. And I thought in my snarky, I was like, just make a change.org. And it got talked a little bit of, it got passed around a little bit, I remember. And then Austin actually reached out to me, and him and Craig, they were going to have me on their podcast, Pillows and Beer. And then I think Craig decided against it. You know what? Now that I'm saying that out loud, maybe that's why he initially blocked me, Craig. And Austin never blocked me. God bless him. But somebody has put out a change.org to get Jax Taylor off the show. But it's not all bad news, because somebody online has risen to Jax's defense. And I don't know if you saw this, but let's read through some of this together, shall we? So I rarely go on Twitter anymore. I think for me personally, it just felt like it became a cesspool of hate anywhere you looked. And then sometimes I would pop back on. A couple weeks ago, I popped back on when that Elon and Donald stuff was popping off, because I wanted to see Elon's meltdown. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then it immediately was just toxic again. So I got off. It just doesn't, and I'm trying to use threat. Anyways, this isn't about social media, but I noticed a new account followed me on Twitter, and it's Justice for Jax Taylor. That's right, folks. Justice for Jax Taylor followed me on Twitter. And you can put a little, heading under your username, and it says, he's paid the price, ... treat him fairly. And then a white flag. Joined June 2025. Location says Los Angeles, California. Location says the condo next to Tom Schwartz. And the pinned tweet, you can pin a tweet. The pinned tweet has an AI image that this person made of what looks to be Jax Taylor in a white shirt that says, I bleed too. That's right, Jax Taylor bleeds too. And then 6 angry faces all wearing Bravo shirts, screaming at Jax. And this AI Jax is covering his ears and crying like, ah! So that's a really strong pin tweet. And this person tagged Andy Cohen and 7 others. Oh, Scheana. They tagged Scheana, Bravo, Tom Sandoval, Samantha Bush, Watch What Happens Live, Queens of Bravo, and Craig Conover? Why'd you tag Craig Conover, whoever made this account? So that's who they tagged. And then somebody underneath it goes, is this a parody account? And they go, no. And the person goes, oh, that's interesting. And then somebody wrote, we know this is you, Jax. And then Justice for Jax Taylor wrote, says the monkey with tits, get real, hashtag Justice for Jax. I got to tell you, this sounds an awful lot like Jax. Says the monkey with tits. What? That's a very Jax thing to write. Let's see what other things Justice for Jax has tweeted. 43 minutes ago, I'm doing this on Wednesday night. 43 minutes ago, Justice for Jax Taylor wrote, anyone campaigning for @Mr. Jax Taylor to be fired is taking food out of Cruz's... Sorry. It's not funny. Is taking food out of Cruz's mouth. It's that simple. Hashtag Justice for Jax. Hashtag the Valley. Brittany is working tons. She is getting so many brand deals, and I think she's the primary caregiver in terms of probably like feeding Cruz. And from what we saw from the after show and is that she was like, I'll pay for all the groceries. Like, even when she lived in that Airbnb, she was like dropping off groceries for Jax and Cruz when Cruz would visit. Also, Jax can get another job. I mean, it's primarily going to be in the fast food industry, but there is options to work. I mean, he's got a very thriving cameo business. Here's another one. This person's also reposting themselves. Justice for Jax Taylor. You'll never get me to support how Aaron and Michelle treat Jesse, but I'm not too petty to admit that Aaron is a very good looking guy. Oh, the hot honey man. Michelle's hot honey man. So Justice for Jax Taylor, this account also tweets about the show. But then it looks like this person manipulated Aaron's image to make him look more demonic. Weird. Okay. And then, then in this post, they tagged Stassi, Scheana, Lala, Sonia, Andy, Bravo, and Watch What Happens Live. Oh, come on. Whoever did this account, please reach out to me. This has got to be a parody. Just let me know private. I won't even tell the audience. Let me know privately this is a joke, because if not, I'm going to stay up just being scared. This feels demonic. It's very, as Snarkbait would say, dark energy. Wow, Justice for Jax Taylor has been going off this evening. You can totally tell that at Mr. Jax Taylor practiced a ton of meditation and rehab. He was so at peace with his decision to not go on the cast trip. It's crystal clear he has mastered how to give up his biggest vice, control. Here's another one. Jesse embracing Jax Taylor into his men's support group was emotional. Was it? Hats off for stepping up for a man that desperately needs love and protection. I don't think this man likes to even use protection. He does not need protection. I'm glad. Boy, was I proud of Jax Taylor for organizing this lunch. He was ready to put his trauma aside for the benefit of his son. Watching him get stood up by Brittany put my stomach in knots. This man has faced nothing but rejection from the moment he stepped outside of the rehab center. Oh my God, please say this isn't serious. You'll never get me to... Oh, wait. I'll never get used to watching the cast abuse Jax Taylor. Tonight, I think I will get used to it, actually. I don't think we've seen it potentially nearly enough. And this is crazy. I can't keep reading this. Well, maybe I can. Are you... wow. They've cheated. And this person likes using AI images. Here's an AI image of Jax mowing the lawn with giant snakes, and there's a cloud in the background with lightning. And it says, Jax Taylor bravely entered rehab expecting to be supported by his army. Little did he know that army was infested with snakes. Tend to your garden and watch out for what you will find. I mean, tend to your garden. He does love doing the yard work. I mean, with the leaf blower and stuff. And then the AI image says work in progress on his t-shirt. Come on. This is not serious. Jax getting in a new apartment to heal was the best thing he could have done for himself and Cruz. No, it's the best thing he could have done for his penis. What are you talking? Jax hanging his wedding photo on the wall before leaving his shared home with Brittany. But he's a monster, right? He, period, bleeds, period, too, period. Here's another one. It's heartbreaking that Jax was crucified for watching Brittany on the cameras, yet Brittany admitted to doing the same thing. Another example of Jax not being treated fairly. Hashtag hold everyone accountable. Who is out there searching the hashtag hold everyone accountable? Does anybody let me up on Twitter and see who's holding everybody accountable? Who does that? Happy Monday, y'all. Woke up this morning determined to tackle this week with Jax Taylor's signature determination and perseverance. Hello, summer. Jax Taylor's signature determination and perseverance? Okay. Come on, you guys. Who... Can we... I don't want to have to learn basic coding and hacking to find out who actually made this account. But that's got to stop. Well, anyways, so not everybody is against Jax Taylor. He's got a small but mighty Twitter army behind him. I was going to say, though, Janet... still going in on the Danny thing, still going in on Nia, really had a horrible Mexican lunch where she was going off, obviously a little tipsy, which you might want to watch being tipsy when you're commenting on other people's drinking. But what I want is Janet, you coming at Nia or Danny, that is small potatoes, and it's not worthy of where you think you are. Go after the big dogs. Go after Jax Taylor. I mean, come on, picture this. If Janet really crucified Jax, why aren't we doing that? I mean, that's the thing. There are so many things that are confusing about this show to me. There are so many things that I think the audience is having to speculate and trying to figure out, because you don't really understand why anybody's even still talking to Jax. I don't understand why Jason's talking to Jax. I don't understand all of these things, and that they have no problem verbalizing their dislike and dismay at Danny's actions. But Jax has 13 years of action just on TV, literally things that we can point at for 13 years. And have we just gotten tired of that? Have we just he's a lost cause? Why are we giving more energy to those situations? But Janet, go after Jax. Okay, folks, say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages because Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. I just switched to Mint Mobile and I am already saving $120, and it is the same quality of service, if not better. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number. You can even switch over your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. So ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of unlimited service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. I didn't stumble over my words. $15 a month. So this year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/sobad. That's mintmobile.com/sobad. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, folks, if you've been listening to the show, you know I've been on a health journey this last couple of months. And part of that is because summer is here. You got more light. You got more time to do all the things that make summer so special. And you have to wear summer clothes. You're kind of showing off your goods in a sense. And the number one thing that you also don't want to be doing this summer is spending hours cooking inside. And that is where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-created, chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. If you know me, I like to do things fast. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat. It is perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your summer gains and goals. I am on the website right now, and you can choose from options that work for anybody, but especially work for me. There's Calorie Smart, there's Protein Plus, there's Keto, there's like 4 other different options that if you are trying to live a healthier lifestyle, it is perfect for. Factor powers your day sun up to sundown with nutritious breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. Factor has your whole day covered. So enjoy more this summer. Get Factor if you want all the flavor and none of the fuss. I just ordered my box and I ordered a high protein meal, a carb conscious meal, a GLP-1 balance, even though I'm not on a GLP-1, but it's still good food. And they even have fiber filled. I am so excited to get my shipment because I'm just looking to eat healthy and, not have to do the fuss of actually cooking this food. I'm not a good chef. So I'm using this and so should you. Get started at factormeals.com/sobad50 off and use code SOBAD50 off. That's SOBAD 50. Sorry. SOBAD50. That's SOBAD 50OFF to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code SOBAD50 off at factormeals.com/SOBAD50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/SOBAD50 off. Like, take him down. I mean, he's not down, believe me. Like, even that little scene that he had where he was waiting for Brittany was horrendous. And like I said on yesterday's episode, you guys, that's my argument when people are like, oh, the network and the production company, they're protecting Jax. Are they? The scenes that Jax were in were awful. It was like a men's group where they were touching each other's breasticles, hugging each other and congratulating each other on being men and the plight of the man. And then like a fucking coffee date with Brittany that she didn't come to, thank God, because he was wasted at his bar. And then he was like, oh, they don't want to see me succeed. In the after show, he's like, oh, yeah, I think she's actually pretty jealous that I'm succeeding. Are you succeeding? It does not feel like this. And also, remember, this was shot like 9 months ago. And from what we heard, even on Watch What Happens Live, he keeps promising to give this RSS feed. And originally, 3 or 4 episodes ago, he told Jason he was going to hand it right over. And then on Watch What Happens Live, he says, oh, it's going to be in July. What about now? Give her the RSS feed now. This is literally 9 months later. And I have to remind everybody, he went into rehab the first time, which we saw. That was in September. And then in November, he went back into a rehab facility for 17 days. He didn't stay for the full 30. And then obviously he is already drinking as of this episode. So when you actually encourage somebody that you care about, and sorry, Justice for Jax Taylor, I want you to hear this. I'm going to speak slowly. They do care about Jax, even if you don't feel like it's enough. Brittany keeps saying, this is the father of my child. I will always love him, but not in that way. I don't know why. Like, I see sometimes the discourse of like, the Brittany knew what she signed up for. Come on. I love how everybody's in perfect relationships when they comment on somebody on Bravo. It's like, have you thought about any of your own actual relationships and how messed up? I'm not talking to you guys. You guys are all perfect. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we seem to like any kind of common sense goes out the window. And like we've said from the beginning, like, what is Brittany doing with Jax? Now Brittany's not with Jackson anymore. And I'm seeing a certain segment of the audience going, how dare she not stand by this man? What he did was not that bad. Are you kidding me? Sorry. See, this is why I don't like Wednesdays so much. This is how into it I get. And then people worry about me and I get calls. By the way, I am drinking out my Shop Bravo mug. Greetings from the Valley. Los Angeles, California. Bravo. Woo! Okay. Checking back in with you guys. You still with me? Good. I wanted to give a quick shout out to my Patreon. What up, baddies? We have a new baddie. I want to give a shout out to Carrie Ligocki. Ligocki. Sandra didn't think I would pronounce that correctly. And Carrie, will you let me know if I just butchered that? Because Sandra was like, just say the first name. And I was like, no, I'm going to say both names. She immediately unfollows the Patreon tomorrow. We have a Patreon live coming up on Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but you can watch it later at any time. Come join us. We can talk about the Valley. We can talk about Love Island. We can talk about 80 billion different things. So come join. We'll be doing a Valley after show on the Patreon this week as well. And Love Island USA comes back tonight as well. That, if you listen to Wednesday's episode, I was pissed. I sometimes think they are throwing so much production at certain episodes because it does not have the actual substance that it needs. But Maritza texted me this last night and I thought this was interesting. It's like, I think for like people that have watched Love Island, like a couple of seasons or maybe started last season, they are more upset about what we're seeing, but the people that are just coming in brand new, they seem to be loving it. So it's one of those things that I think like that's interesting. In fact, I was watching on TikTok all of these people having like people watching Love Island USA at the bars, and everybody was like screaming and yelling, and it just like mass hysteria, and it looked like a lot of fun. So I do have to remind myself that the people that are new to the show might actually really be digging it, and also I think it's maybe just my age too, where I'm like, come on, you fucking young kids, stupid, shake-fisted sky. Oh, okay. Well, we're done here. See you on Friday, guys. Oh, also, did you realize the 4th season of The Bear came out on Wednesday? I was like, wait, all this stuff. I was like, wait, what? The full 10 episodes dropped Wednesday at 5 p.m. And I was like, that just snuck up out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, now I got to watch 10 episodes of The Bear. I was very disappointed in the 3rd season. So I am excited to watch the 4th season, but it just doesn't seem like it had any buzz leading up to it, unless I've just been in a Valley Love Island coma, which is possible. Were you guys hearing tons about the new season of The Bear? It's interesting. Like, that show was so critically acclaimed and popular the first 3 seasons, and then like, did they just stop promoting it, or have I just had my head so far up my ass? Do not answer that question. Please do not answer that question. I don't know. It was just something I noticed, and I was like, oh, that is super, super weird. We also have a Q&A that we're going to do. I put up on my Instagram today, hey, does anybody have thoughts or questions about the Valley? And I get a lot of responses. So we'll do that at the end of the show. I'll put a timestamp. Are you guys okay if we do another long episode? I don't want to do it. I mean, I do, because I have a lot of things to say, but we're going to do, I think this will probably be another long episode. So hang in there. Hope you're okay with that. And do you hear how I keep putting off doing the recap? Because I don't, because I don't want to start talking about these people. Oh, slowly losing my mind. You know what helps me come back to a sane place? Music, right? Music, I think, really speaks to all of us, and it gives us hope, gives us cheer, makes us move our bodies. It's always good to move our bodies, from what my trainer tells me. And there's one song in particular. I don't know if you guys have heard this. It's one of my newer favorites. I came upon this song a couple of days ago, and I think it is so fitting for a show like The Valley. It's called Raise Your Glass by Tina Deadly, and I don't know if you guys have heard this. I was told it was the theme song for Vanderpump Rules. It's still going to be the theme song for Vanderpump Rules with the rebooted cast, but they're going to do a little twist on it from what I hear. So, once again, this week, to put us in a good mood, and by put us, I mean put me in a good mood, we are going to play something that will send us to the stratosphere. Here we go. Raise your glass. Oh, yeah. Hercules. Oh, dun, dun, dun. The technology exists for a robot boy. Justice for Dax Taylor. Dude, imagine me on a motorcycle. Am I just blaring this and pulling around corners? Your next dancer is Ryan, baby. Punch the sky, folks. It's when it gets snotty, right? It's sexy. I always get a little winded at that part, you know? Like, a lot of movement. Well, here we go. I can't believe we're doing more verses in the song. I can't believe that. Throw elbows. Okay, one more time. Here we go. Put them up, put them up, put them up. Jax is out of rehab, not invited to Hawaii. Janet is so mean to Dania. One not for her tonight. Wow, you guys, we really killed that one. We really did that one. That was probably the best one that we've ever done. I said this a couple weeks ago, but if I was a stripper, that would be my song. Like, yeah, I was like, coming up to the stage, give it up for Ryan. And I would just be in some sort of like sheer scarving material and be like, who's this mysterious gentleman with the big halves? This is wow. And then I would just really throw my dance moves. And then by the end, everybody would be up on their feet, even though it's a strip club and that would be potentially weird. And just like the amount of, we're not even talking dollars being thrown on the stage. People are throwing hundreds on the stage. Feel like, oh my God, this is like, we're here to like, cause we're pervs. But at the same time, like that was like, that guy has talent. And then I go on America's Got Talent. And then it turns out I'm in the finals with, it's me and Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras. And Simon's like, Ryan, I've not seen this kind of talent, since Harry Styles, a little band called One Direction. You have won. America's Got Talent. And I'm just crying, and Tom hugs me. He's like, you deserve this, dude. No, don't even worry about me, dude. I got my redemption, dude. Did you guys see the America's Got Talent with Tom Sandoval on Tuesday night? I didn't watch the show, but I saw like the full clip and the judges speaking. And I will say it was it was, I mean, like, I found it very sad last week, and just having to explain of like, I'm here to get redemption. I did a little thing called Sandoval, and I to be honest, I was like, is he lip syncing or something? Because he did sound better than I don't know. And the band seemed good. And I don't know. I don't know if they were telling the audience to freak out, but they seemed to be enjoying it. And then Mel B was like, I'm going to hire you for my wedding band. And somebody was like, I love that you guys just do covers, a cover band. And Simon was like, Tom, I've got to be honest, the vocals were not good, but it was good. And you look good. And, you're not trying to get a record deal. So like, I love that he was like, you're not trying to get something out of this. I mean, you're here and you've already gotten it. But you're not trying to get like, I love, they all passed him through. So does that mean I don't watch AGT. Does Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras like then compete again on AGT? But anyways, there was a part of me that was like, okay, and by the way, I do know Craig Conover was on the Toast, I guess, the Toasties, and showed the girl the ring he got for Paige. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure, on Monday's episode with Sophie. I have some thoughts, but I did get tagged in that clip a bunch. So I'm glad he saved it for the Toast. Wasn't for Watch What Happens Live or anything Bravo related. He saved it for the Toast. Yeah. Okay. Enough. Let's get into this. So this episode is called El Coyote Ugly, and that is because the Mexican restaurant that the ladies go to is a place on Beverly called Coyote Ugly in Los Angeles. It is another one of the restaurants that I really enjoy. They were at El Compadre a couple weeks ago, and I've got to ask the Valley to stop ruining my favorite restaurants, please. Oh my God, if you go to the McDonald's on Cahuenga, I'm going to have to like watch a new show. I can't handle this. I was like, no, not now. I'm going to be thinking when I'm at El Coyote next about the Valley scene. I'm going to be like, sit me at the table where Janet unleashed on Kristen and Nia. The description the cable company gives us for this one says, from bottle service to baby bottles, couples find their way out of the young and fast life of the Hollywood lights. That's the description for this episode? From bottle service to baby bottles, couples find their... Okay, somebody over at Peacock needs to get fired. This is lazy. This is like the description, the log line for the entire show. That's not... How dare you, Peacock? Oh my God. Somebody dropped the ball on that one. Anyways, we start this episode differently than we usually start it. We start with like a chyron that pops up with this verbiage. Some scenes contain strobing or continued flashing light imagery that may affect photosensitive viewers. What the fuck? I mean, like, that's great to know, but like, you put a suicide prevention and like rehab fucking number at the end of last week's episode. Why don't we put those at the beginning of the episode? Why don't we like, oh, I'm sorry, the flashing light imagery and strobe, that is a better, like, oh, you're like, hey, some scenes contain like a maniac that might eventually hurt somebody that they're close with in some fit of blind rage. Where's that warning at the beginning of the episode? Or like, oh, this episode is insanely dark like the previous 10. If that's not your thing, we suggest these other Bravo shows. Why don't we have other warnings? Now, I do understand that strobes, like I understand why that, you don't want to have somebody have a seizure or something. But I feel like if we're going to put this, we should at least put the other, like the suicide prevention hotline, domestic violence hotline. Like we should put those at the top of the show too, just so the audience can realize that the network realizes that this stuff is really dark, like all joking aside. But I was like, wait, the strobing you're worried about? The strobing. Okay, cool. So we start as we always do, previously on The Valley. And remember, Luke was at Kyle Chan, jeweler to the reality stars, with Danny, picking out a ring for Kristen Doute because he is going to propose in Hawaii. He's talking to Nia and Danny about surprising Detective Doute. So he's got this whole thing where he's going to have Kyle Chan watch his geckos. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Luke is a gecko guy. So they're going to go to Maui. They're going to do a full-blown fishing trip. He's going to distract her. She's going to turn around. He's going to be on one knee. And then we flash to the scene over at one of the parties where this girl comes up to Jesse through Zach saying like, hey, I dated Aaron, the guy with the big eyes that sells honey, And Jesse's like, who's Aaron? And she's like, Michelle's boyfriend? Who's Michelle? Come on, Dad. You know who she is. She's Mom. Jesse is 99% sure that she cheated on me with the hot honey man. And then we had the scene with Janet talking to Nia at the party going, the pantry drinking? Your husband's doing this stuff. The pantry drinking. By the way, if somebody ever called me a pantry drinker, I don't even know if I'd drink liquid for the rest of my life. Pantry drinking? Like, can we humiliate this man even more? You're drinking in a pantry. Like the crib drinker? But Janet's like, if you're just going to sweep it under the rug. And Nia's like, I'm not sweeping anything under the rug. And then we had at the end of last week's episode where a process server was like, Mr. Couchy? Yeah, you've been served. And he's like, oh, this has got to be something about my podcast. And Schwartz is there. He's like, divorce papers? Yeah. Oh, shit, dude. Oh. And we just have Jax's face like, oh, I can't believe that every one of my actions, this finally happened. It's crazy. But I'm wearing a big hat that says Jax's Studio City, so I should be okay. I'm all right. The music starts immediately. Everything is all right. Everything is all right. Everything is all right. I'm all right. And it's like fun and everybody, like, I love that Jesse and Jax now, since they're not with their women, they're like grilling in the backyard in the opening credits. God, we should have like Danny in a closet with a bottle and Janet like hiding around a corner eavesdropping, something like that. Oh, great times. So we start off the episode, we are over at Luke and Kristen's new pad. And he's like, it's nice having lunch with you, honey. And she's like, so fancy. And it seems like some pita bread. And I don't know, like, what is this? Like tuna salad or something? And there's a salad and Luke's like, yum, 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 yum. And he says, I don't want to admit it, but this house has changed my perspective a little bit. Not a lot, a little bit of this place. I think in the new year, next year, we'll be in a good spot, he says. And then the kids come. And Doute's like, ha ha. She's like, hee hee hee. And he's like, obviously, we start figuring out where we're going next. And by the way, spoiler alert, Kristen and Luke had their baby, a week and a half ago. And so they have a baby at this space now. This is the power of manifestation. But then Luke's like, we'll figure out where we're going to go next, because Luke wants to eventually get out of LA, which I think that is the sign that Luke is a sane man. And Doute's kind of making fun of him, going, and then the kids come. And he's smiling. These crazy kids, it seems like they're in love. Doute in a talking head says, I never envisioned myself raising a family in LA, but LA has been my home for almost 20 years. So it's always going to feel like home to me. She tells Luke, I just hope whenever we get pregnant again that I don't want cheesecake. And Luke's like, why? And she's like, don't you remember how much cheesecake I ate in like a month? And he's like, no, I don't remember. And I was like, uh-oh, is this a new storyline? Like, what about the cheesecake, Luke? You son of a bitch. And he's like, no, I don't. She goes, you don't? You don't? In a talking head, she says, I just want Luke to be happy with where we are instead of always just wanting to get out. Once again, Luke's style has just vastly improved. He's wearing like a necklace now, like on the outside of his t-shirt. Doute, by the way, I love that they're having lunch and Doute seems like she's 2 glasses in on a bottle of white wine. She's like, well, I checked today my levels. It went up my fertility window. And Luke's like, okay, you started a fertile window like it's supposed to be, right? And Doute's like, listen to you, Doc. Ha ha. Luke goes, Kristen, I want you to figure out how I can keep your stress levels down. As in, they have a shot of Doute just pounding the white wine. I want to try to figure out how we keep your stress down. It's like, I don't want you to feel like it's always on your shoulders. I feel like if there's anything else I can do, I want to be doing it. And Doute goes, I think you're doing everything that you can. I mean, this seems like a loving relationship. In a talking head, Luke says, Kristen and I both want a family so bad. She and I are not alike in a lot of ways. Also, I want to point out once again, he's worn this talking head outfit for a while, but it's like a salmon suit, but then it has salmon colored shorts. And in the talking head, like Rebecca was watching it and she was like, oh my God, is he not wearing any pants? It was like, because it was shorts and it went really high up on the leg. And I thought that would just be amazing if Luke just goes pantless in his talking heads. Like, did I see Luke's balls at the beginning of last night's episode of The Valley? He's like, I'm trying to be comfortable here in Los Angeles. Back where I'm from, we freeball our talking heads. But yeah, he says, yeah, they're not alike in many ways, but we're still alike in the ways that matter. Caring for each other, loving each other. Oh, I'm blushing. This is gross. But Luke says, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving. I am here for the long haul. I'm here forever. Doute in the scene says, we're doing the right thing by trying. And he just shakes his head. And Doute goes, something better happen is all I'm saying. Come on, baby girl. And Luke's laughing as they're eating their pita and tuna salad or whatever that is. We cut out of that scene. And where do we wind up next? We are at, this is the breakfast place. We're at Hugo's. I believe this is on Riverside in the Valley. And it's Danny, Nia, and Zach's boyfriend, Benji, who we had his welcome home party, even though it turned into like a welcome home party for Jax, I guess. Zach in a talking head says that it's been really great having Benji there, somebody to cook for him because he like almost burned down the place cooking noodles, which I mean, relatable. I remember when I was in my 20s, I lived right down the street from the Viper Room with my roommate, Sarah. And she used to work at Coach and Horses, which is a bar that's now a restaurant called Horses. But it was like she worked there and me and my buddy Pat would go in there and get free drinks all the time. And we would get pretty lit. We were in our 20s. We were sowing our wild oats and it was really fun. But I remember it was like a Friday night. I came back and I was trying to eat right, even though I was hammered. And I had one of those George Foreman grills and I had like salmon and I put like a piece of salmon on the George Foreman grill at like 2:30 in the morning. And then I wake up at like 3:30 and there's smoke everywhere and the fire like brr, brr, brr. And I had fallen. Oh God, this is not even, I shouldn't, this is a dumb, I didn't think I was going to, that's a dumb story. That's dangerous. But anyways, the salmon had completely burnt. It looked like a charcoal briquette. Everything was fine, but we did have just like random stray cats coming to the door for the next month. Oh my gosh, she was so mad at me. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Don't try to eat healthy. That's the moral of the whole story. Oh, I shouldn't have told that. That was a horrific story. Anyways, I hate in reality shows when the waiter's there and they're like, hey, my name's Danny. What's going on? Hey, my name's Brendan. And then they actually show the whole order being placed. I always feel like, did you not have enough like meat on the bones in your scenes that you had to include the waiter introducing himself? No offense to the waiter, but like, I was like, did we need the whole food order? Well, come on, let's get the show moving. Like, are we desperate for material? So the four of them are there to talk about the engagement of Doute, and Luke has put them in charge of things. And Zach, was getting like the feeling something was happening. His like spidey sense was going off. And by the way, Danny's pouring himself like hot tea, and I was like, check that tea. I bet it's hot vodka. Pantry Danny. Anyways, Zach in a talking head goes, Kristen has the nickname of Detective Doute. Well, that is rubbed off. And a good detective never reveals their sources. Zach, by the way, I would not call him an MVP, but I will say people have their eye on Janet and Doute and stuff like that. But Zach, he is the secret sniper. He is the one that in the third season, I feel like he is going to cause a lot of chaos. So Nia's like, Luke wants everyone to be invited to Maui, but since this is our trip, I feel like it wouldn't feel very natural for us to invite Janet and Jason because we hate them with all our beings. Because I wouldn't naturally invite them. And Zach's like, yes, I feel that. So Nia's like, maybe you can do that, Zach. Maybe you can extend that invite, and then we can kind of extend the rest of the invites. Zach in a talking head says, I think it's pretty ironic that last year, Janet had a trip that Kristen and I weren't invited to. And we flash back to Jax last season going, we are going to Big Bear. Unfortunately, they don't want to invite you guys. And Zach's like, everybody's like, don't cry. And Zach's like, I'm trying to stop. And Zach says, and now this year, I'm inviting Janet to a trip that's all about Kristen. That's called growth, Zach. And then Zach goes, Alanis Morissette, I think we got some new lyrics for you. And go down on you in a theater. I think he's talking about, isn't it ironic, don't you think? It's like Janet not inviting Zach and Doute on a Big Bear trip. It's a Hawaiian trip. I wonder about cast trips, you guys, is that So we naturally invite these people on this trip, but like, think about that. Think you're getting asked to go to Maui. So obviously this is planned somewhat through production, because I don't think they're like, well, let's hop on and see if we can get flights with Delta, or, let's get on, I was about to say StubHub. Let's get on StubHub and see if we can get tickets. No, obviously this goes through production in some way. And obviously they have to be expecting some sort of invite. Like, you can't just pick up and go to Maui, right? Or can you? Anyways, now Danny and Nia are both on their phones trying to do invites. And Nia's like, you text the guys, Danny, and I'll text everybody else. And Zach goes, do not use the word engagement. And they're like, no, exactly. Danny, by the way, screws up and texts Nia an invite, who is sitting right next to him. And she's like, you just texted me, silly. And then Danny gives us his patented Danny line, 3 under 3, baby. 3 kids. She tried to lock my knees. She wants a 4th. Santa Clarita. Okay, so Danny says, I'm not going to text Jason right now. And Nia's like, no, you're not texting Jason. And Zach's like, yeah, I'll do that. And Zach's like, okay, should we go ahead and invite Kristen? And they're like, okay, we're going to do it right now. Okay. So Zach FaceTimes Doute. They're having their pita lunch that we just saw. And Doute's like, oh, I'm interrupting our lunch. Hey, what's going on? And this is where it's weird, because the cameras are obviously filming Doute at one location and Zach at one location. You're telling me Detective Doute didn't suspect anything? Luke was on this podcast 2 weeks ago, and he was like, he really fooled her. And I think it's one of those things, and maybe if I talk to Doute somewhere down the line, I'll be like, come on, you really knew. You knew, and you just won't tell Luke because you want him to have this because it's a sweet moment, right? Anyways, Nia's like, you look so pretty, Kristen. Are you getting Botox without me? And then she's like, no, we're at home. I love that Nia thought the background of Luke and Doute's house was a Botox clinic. So Zach's like, I know we were talking about like taking like an end of the summer trip, and we wanted to do Hawaii. And Luke and Doute are like, woo, 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 whoop, 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 whoop. And Danny's like, we're going to Maui, baby. 3 under 3. And Doute's like, yeah, let's do this. All right. Bye, guys. And then the 4 of them go team engagement and put their hands in the middle of the table. Yay! And then we see on a split screen, Doute and Luke kiss. Okay, I want to give a trigger warning for this next scene. It involves men touching each other in a sense of brotherhood. We're over at Jesse Lally's, where he's doing a load of laundry, just like a man. And Scott, Jesse's life coach, comes in with a pillow for I'm going to need everybody to scream into this pillow. Anyways, Jesse's like, what's up, brother? Are you ready? You ready to party or what? And I was like, what are we about to see? I didn't know at first. And then Jax Taylor walks in, and Jesse's like, how are you, Jax? And Jax is like, I'm terrible. And then Jason comes in, Jason still can't figure out the doorknob. And then we have Danny there as well. Jesse says, before I went to see Jax and picked him up at rehab, Scott said to me, does this guy have money that I could potentially grift from it? No, he goes, Scott said to me, I'm part of a men's group, and only men can really understand what other men are going through. I'm so sorry to... Only men can understand our menses. Only. By the way, how many men's groups are Jesse Lally in? Isn't like Jesse like the one who started the boys chat? Like, I've got my men's group, but I also have my boys chat. We're talking about what men... This is fucking dangerous, by the way. I mean, everybody in this men's group is going to have to be in court one day for something. Anyways, Jesse's like, all right, brothers, let's head outside. Does anybody want any rose water spray? Any psilocybin, anything? Psilocybin is mushrooms. Which, by the way, if we're really going to do this, let's go all the way, dude. I want to see Jax Taylor do ayahuasca. Come on. Jesse says, we're all going through personal struggles. So getting a bunch of guys together to kind of jack off each other, to kind of hash it out for their own mental health, I think is important right now. I like Jesse's very serious talking heads because it's like, how dare you, Ryan, as a former man, talk and make fun of my men's group? We've got to figure the epidemic of what life is doing to men. It is a very dangerous way of thinking. Truly. Anyways, we see that Jesse brought out the fine china, the water glass, and, pitcher. Anyways, Scott's like, all right, guys. All right, men, let's circle up. And everybody's like hugging each other in like a circle. Poor Jason Caperna's like, what? Is it worth it being a man? Like, come on. Scott's like, hey, guys. Hey, brothers. And Luke's there as well, you guys. Thank you for being here. It matters for us to come together. Despite all of our differences, we are brothers. We all have a penis and 2 testicles. So let's sit, you guys. And everybody's like, yeah, thanks for being here, Scott. Yeah, all right. Danny goes, I'm really glad this is happening because we're all going to a trip to Maui, and there's been a lot of back and forth and conflict that's been happening the past few weeks. And we see a shot of Jax, and then we flash back to what's going on in Jax's mind potentially. And Brittany's like, you need help, Jax. You need help, Jax screams. I have to go to therapy because of all the stuff you done to me. And then we flash to Michelle going, you're a disaster. You're a disaster. And Jesse going, well, you're a hooker, so it's fine. And then Danny talking to Jason going, you are implying that I have a drinking problem, that I'm a pantry drinker. That's just not cool, man. So Danny finishes up his speech in the men's circle. And so I think this is a great start to actually having like a fun trip and being able to do that together. And then Jax goes, I'm not going. I don't really see myself going on a trip. It's just not good for me right now. Oh, and Scott's like, oh, great. And I'm like, oh, Scott, let's hold it back there. I feel like we could chat about this for a second. Is this the same dude that was rage texting Brittany because he was having FOMO? Like, oh, you guys are having so much fun filming. I hear Janet's being toxic. Blah, 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 blah. You were freaking out when you were in this mental health facility. But now everybody's just going to Hawaii and you're like, it's not good for me. You know what? I'm just going to hang back and see my son Cruz, see my son Cruz and go through some of my toys and get some plans with Schwartz. Like all of a sudden he's like, cool. You know what? Not good. I'm not. I said last week, he's probably not allowed back in Hawaii ever since he got arrested for shoplifting at that sunglass hut. My suspicion, and I don't know this for sure, my suspicion is production just didn't want to, they just thought it was not good, not safe, potentially. I don't mean safe, the word, but just not good. And I think they wanted to give Brittany a little bit of rest, right? And we'll see if we have any scenes of Jax like puttering around his new condo next week. Who knows? He's probably just installing secret cameras in his house to watch Brittany. We flash back to the dinner at the smokehouse last week with the guys. And Jax is telling the guys, I want Brittany to not be stressed out. I want her to have a good time. And I want to hang out with my kid, man. And Jason's like, yeah, that makes 100% sense, man. Yeah. I love that now he's concerned about Brittany having a good time. I really made her work the last 30 days, really scared the shit. And then I realized I can freak her out from home while she's in Hawaii. Like I can still do weird texts from home, right? Anyways, we're back in the men's group and Jackson's like going through just a really tough time in life right now. Divorce, separation, everything's gone wrong right now. Yeah. So it's tough. Scott, the life coach, is like, a lot of times we carry resentment and the resentment stack on each other. This is called a list. Oh, wow. I've never heard of a thing called a list. Wow. You're telling me things we call it a list. Interesting. And the way a list is cleared is stand up. Yeah. Come on. Stand up. Jason stands up. And Scott, the life coach, walks over to Jason, puts his hand on Jason's chest and goes, I'm going to tweak your nipples. No, he goes, you put your hands on a man's chest and you say, hey, what is your number? No, he goes, hey, you did this And it made me feel this. We're doing it for this man, he's pointing at himself, Scott, to be able to let it go. This man does not respond. And he's tapping Jason. This man does not respond. So I'm going to invite a man to call on another man. Can we stop saying man? Let's call I'm going to invite Danny and Jesse to stay. I'm going to invite a man, and not a woman, but a man. And I'm going to invite 2 men up to clear. So who wants to start? By the way, I mean, this has got to be the final nail in the coffin for some. Like, is it worth it? Is it worth being on a reality show? We're having to touch other men's chests and whisper like things about your list. Anyways, there's a lot of silence. Nobody wants to go first. Everybody's man shy right now. And then Scott, I guess, is looking at Jax, and Jax is like, "Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at? You like the cut of my jib? Why are you looking at me?" And Scott goes, "You're looking at me." And Jesse uncomfortably laughs. This is classic men group stuff. And Jackson's like, "I'm just listening. I'm just taking it all in right now." He's not listening at all. He's in the background. "How can I make Brittany's life more miserable?" Oh, Scott, why are you looking at me? Anyways, it's a lot of uncomfortable laughter. And I was uncomfortably laughing when I first saw it. I was like, are we seeing this? "Over there's a stack of pillows. I'm going to need everybody to grab one. I just want you to scream in it." Anyways, Jesse says, "I invited you here. I can start. I'm a man. I feel like I have been kind of clearing some lists with everybody, but I'll start with Luke." And then Jesse's like, "So I put my hand on his chest." Yeah, it's not fun. It's 2 steps. Put your hand on his chest. He puts your hand and you fucking cleared the list. I already got it. And then Luke goes, "Ask permission." Just kidding. That's a man joke about consent. And Jesse goes, "God damn it, you had to start there, didn't you?" And so he puts his hand on Luke's chest, and Luke just wets himself. He just relieves his bladder. It was so insane. No, Jesse goes, "With your blind loyalty towards your girlfriend, it made me feel hurt." And we flash back to last season when Luke was yelling at Jesse going, Luke's like, "Your problems with your wife. Talk to your wife." And remember that? And like Zach got pushed by Jesse and it was like crazy in the hallway. Anyways, Jesse continues with his man speech. "It made me feel angry and it made me want to be aggressive. And I am willing to let it go." There's a shot of Caperna going like he looks, I feel like he's about to laugh. Come on. He looks like he's about to laugh. Anyways, he removes his hand from Luke's chest and then Luke gives him a man hug and they pat each other on the back. Oh, God, this is so fucking homoerotic right now. I am so turned on. Anyways, Scott is like, "So who's next? Jax, what about you?" Jax really truly hasn't been listening. He goes, "So just sit here and clear your list with everybody?" Like, yeah. It's like, "No, you stand up, jackass." "So I just sit here and just clear a list with everybody?" Scott's like, "Well, like I could hold the place, but yeah, you're going to want somebody in front of you. You're going to need somebody in front of you to clear that list." And then Scott's like, "Do you want me to stand up, Jax?" He's like, Yeah, stand up. And Scott's like, "I got you. Come on, this is brotherhood. Let's do this." And so Scott's like, "Put your hand on my chest, Jax." And Jax puts his, like, this is very Goodwill Hunting, like, "It's not your fault. Stop it. It's not your fault. Stop it. It's not I know." Remember Matt Damon and Robin Williams in that scene? It's very that. And Jax is trying to fight back tears. And I don't know, you guys. I know, like, the softer side of Ryan is like, maybe he's really going through this. But there's a performative nature about Jax and about anybody on reality television for more than 5 seasons. So it's hard to fully lock in on this moment. And Scott's like, "Jax, look me in the eyes." And Jax can't do it. He's like, I can't look at your visage. Jason Caperna now is just looking down at the ground, like, "Make me a bird and fly far, far away. Look me in the eyes, Jax." And he finally does. He goes, "I'm having a really rough time tracking Brittany." No, he goes, "With my life right now. And it's just, I'm sorry. Hold on. Jesse and Luke are both staring at Jax. There's really intense music ramping up. And then we get The Valley. Cut to commercial. We come back from break, and I wish, like, sometimes these shows would actually, like Love Island, they have, like, actual, like, hit songs. Because I feel like this would be, like, a perfect, like, Phil Collins. Like, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Hold on, I'm touching another man's chest in a man's groove with Jesse Lally's tune. Anyway, so Jax is touching, Scott and saying his life is in shambles. And Scott's just staring at him like, yeah, bring it, brother, bring it. Let's be men. I'm a very angry human being, and I've been like that my whole life. I feel like that's honest, and I take it out on everybody else. My anger, and especially my wife, who's not here, because I blocked her in a closet, and I don't want to do that anymore. Scott, the life coach, says, people watch you. People love to see a redemption. Have you seen America's Got Talent, Jax? The little boy that's in there that's been screaming to come out and be vulnerable and cry and not run from shit. Dude, for a second, I was like, what little boy? He means the little boy in Jax, but for a second, I was like, did Jax do, like, Jax has locked up a little boy? Scott goes, you're modeling for people how to do that. So it's an opportunity. So I'm fucking proud of you for showing up. So keep showing up to it, dude, and I'm here for you. That's going to be $100. Anyways, and then they hug, and they did the bro pat on the back. Pat, 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 pat. And then Scott's like, okay, who's next? And Danny goes, Jason, come on. Stand up here. And Danny puts his hand on Jason's chest. I love you, dude. I do. And I definitely didn't show that last week. I said things to your wife I shouldn't have said. And we flash back to Jax's saloon where they renamed it Brits, where Danny's like, look at Janet just going in right now. She's a snake. And Janet going, my husband's not the one out here grabbing asses. Back in the men's group, Danny goes, and I feel really bad for saying those things. And Jason tears up. Jason's like, I'm telling you, this season has broken Jason Caperna. And Jason's like tearing up. He's like, appreciate that a lot. And then we get the man's, are you required to do the pat on the back? Because they hug and then they pat on the back. And I'm like, Scott, is that a requirement, Scott? Jason in a talking head says, Danny's a genuine guy. So I 100% believe him. But somebody can apologize all day. And unless they make actual changes, what's the point? Like, we're wasting time here. Jason now puts his hand on Danny's chest, and Jason says, I don't know if I'm at a place to fully let everything go, to be honest. I just want to work on it more. And Danny's like, thank you, man. And then they hug and do the pat again. Danny in a talking head goes, this isn't exactly what I wanted to hear, but I know it's in the right direction. I can only just change myself and build and grow. Jason tells the group, for me, my biggest thing coming in here was... this feels pretty lame. No, he says, me and my wife's relationship with Danny and Nia has been really unhealthy, and I don't feel like it's completely repaired at this point. Jesse says, the conversation has been about drinking, Scott. The drinking's not the problem. It's the hiding the drinking that was the problem. And then Danny all of a sudden is like, what? Zoinks? Like, Danny's like, wait, what? Like every episode, there's a surprise moment on Danny's face of like, how the fuck did this get back to me? Can we go back to Jax? There's a little boy inside him that he's locked up. What are you talking about? Danny looks like he gets sucker punched every fucking episode. It's so weird. And Scott's go, okay, Danny, hiding drinking. I'm assuming you're going to the bar, I'm assuming you're going into a pantry. That's how it usually is with men. And then leaving back with one and being like, ha ha ha, I just had one drink. I'm assuming that's what it is. And Jack shakes his head for Danny going, yep, that's what it is. Yep. And then Danny's like, yeah, that has happened. Yeah. And Jason looks up like, whoa, breakthrough. And Scott goes, and the spirit of it is so that people don't know you had 3 drinks, right? And it's like silence. And Danny goes, yeah. Jason in a talking head says, admitting what Danny is admitting is a huge step forward. I think them admitting they're men in the first place is a huge step forward. Jason says, because I think he's not only admitting it to us, he's admitting it to himself as well. Scott continues, when you're hiding drinking, there's an implied dishonesty. Okay. In a talking head, Danny goes, I know there's areas that I need to work on, but anytime people are coming after my character, it doesn't sit well with me. Back to Scott. Scott goes, hey, we're sneaky. We are. We're squirrely. All right? We're men. Right? Is there any man here that would not admit to being squirrely? And then Jason's like, well, I think I would need a definition of squirrely. And then Jesse's like, I mean, you're married. You have to be a little squirrely. And Jason laughs, ha ha ha, what the fuck does that mean? Like, do you have to be a little squirrely? Oh, you know how these women are. They make us into squirrels. They make us need to be squirrely. Scott goes, you're on this journey together as men. And so while you might be alone, you are in partnership with each other. But we gotta be better. We gotta be better as men. And Danny's like, right. I just love the fact that they were so specific with Danny, and fucking Jax is a fucking basket case. Like, literally. Did somebody tell him to go easy on Jax? Like, Danny's like, they're like, Danny, you're implying dishonesty by having 3 White Claws. It's, you're being really squirrely. And Jax, like, what? Like, we didn't even get, like, Jesse. Are you fucking... This show is infuriated. I feel like I'm on another planet when I watch this show. So that's the men's group scene. Now we're at El Coyote, and we have Scheana. Yeah, Scheana Shay's in it again. She's, like, walking up with Michelle, and Sheena's like, I had anal sex last night, and I used Preparation H with a salmon sperm facial on my face. No, Sheena's actually in, like, little pieces of this episode, but doesn't promote any sort of branded product. So it's baby steps. Anyways, they're at this restaurant, El Coyote, and Sheena's like, I'm so excited for Mexican food. Sheena's famous enchiladas aren't here. Jasmine and her fiance are there. Brittany's there. Doute's there. And then Janet comes in. And this is during the day, you guys, during the day. Anyways, Brittany's like at the other end from Janet. And like, I feel so far away, you guys. Nia's there. And Nia, you can tell there's like tension between her and Janet. And Janet, in her talking head, says, I'm a little bit nervous to see Nia. Things are still not great there. But, girls' night. Girls' night? It's like during the day. Maybe it's like girls' afternoon. Who knows? But she goes, girls' night, what's the worst that can happen? Doute's sitting next to Nia, and Doute says, so when you and Janet talked, Nia, at Jesse's, and Nia's like, it was very intense. And I'm not going to, go out of my way to make conversation, especially across the table. Nia in a talking head goes, Janet and I at this point are definitely not good. And then we have Randy coming up to take another food order. Like, come on, we don't need you, Randy. Nia says she just focuses on everyone else's marriage or relationships. We get like, Doute's ordered a taco salad. Who cares? Brittany's like, chicken fajitas, please. Nia goes, and I never hear about her marriage or like how she's doing. It's interesting. Nia slowly putting the pieces together. Sometimes I suspect I'm on a reality show, and it's weird. Okay, so there's silence, and Doute takes a knife and clinks her glass. And Nia goes, we have a Hawaii trip coming up, which is so exciting. And then Michelle goes, Aaron's coming. Hot honeyman's coming. And they're like, yay, so exciting, yay. Michelle says, I'm excited because I feel like Jesse's not going to be playing games if Aaron's around. So it's just like a win-win situation. Jesse needs to invite fucking Aaron to the man circle. Anyways, Jasmine is talking and says, Zach kept telling me that there are surprise things that he can't tell me about. And I'm like, well, what is it? Jasmine, Jasmine's going to ruin Doute's surprise. And Doute's like listening, like, what? And Nia's like, yeah, there's some things, like maybe some stuff we've been planning, like extra fun things, it's like little extra things. And by the way, they keep showing Janet and she's like drinking her drink, but I didn't really clock it at first where I was just like, okay, she's just drinking some water, whatever. Anyways, Nia's like, Jasmine, stop, Jasmine, stop. And it's talking to Nia's like, Kristen is kind of like, what's happening? We need to stop this conversation. It's not a big deal, you guys, but it's something that we're planning, okay? The waiter comes back with hot plates. Yeah. Get the food out of the way. We don't need this. Anyways, then Michelle goes, so before we move forward, because I want to move on with my life, Do you guys notice? Like, this is the other thing. Michelle has a very distinct way of talking, but she also has a very slow way of talking. Like, sometimes I'm like, dude, come on. My podcast is already 3 hours long. And sometimes when she speaks that slow, it takes like another hour to transcribe. Sometimes you're a disaster. She's talking slower each episode. So Michelle goes, it's been brought to my attention that a lot of people keep talking about my boyfriend. And sound it out. She said, it feels like a kid reading a book. Like, and people he has slept with in the past. Obviously, you and I have gone through a lot, Kristen, but he slept with Jenna back in 2020. And Doute goes, that has nothing to do. So we're talking about Jenna, that girl that was at the party, and hot honey man Aaron, her current boyfriend, they had hooked up in 2020. Nobody is denying this, right? But Doute's also going, that has nothing to do with me, though. What does that have to do with me? Doute in the talking head goes, what the hell are you even talking about? What does Jenna and Aaron have anything to do with me? Michelle goes, how did Jesse know that once upon a time Jenna and Aaron hooked up? And Doute goes, who cares? We flash back to that party where it's Zach. Zach goes up to Jesse and goes, so Jenna has a story for you and you're going to want to hear it. And Zach in a talking head goes, hello, is this thing on, this mic? Guys, right here. Not Kristen, never was Kristen, me. Zach, it's one thing if you tell us in a talking head, you got to tell it to their faces. You got to accept responsibility face to face. We can't, that's the other thing you see in these shows, people accepting responsibility in talking heads. We want it in the scene. It's easy to be brave in a talking head. Doute says, no offense to anybody at the table, but like, I don't give a shit about anyone's relationships, Doute says. I want everyone to be happy and healthy. And then this is where Janet, like dark side Janet goes, you went behind her back and said that she was a cheater. And we flash back to last season when Doute goes, because she had a fucking boyfriend for a year. There, we all said it. And Doute at the table goes, Janet, why are you getting involved also? And Nia like whispers to Doute, because she really loves the drama. She loves it. And Doute's like, yes, yes. And Janet is kind of like watching them talk, and she's kind of laughing and shaking her head. And Michelle keeps going, my ex-husband hates me. The producers are like, come on, move it along, Michelle, let's go. And Doute's like, I understand. Michelle, I understand that you're going through shit. Therefore, I will not. He's trying to ruin me. He's a disaster. And Doute goes, I understand. I will not bring Jenna around somewhere that you and Aaron are going to be. And Janet goes, you already did. And Doute goes, which I didn't. It did not cross my mind, even at my housewarming party, even though you guys could not come, because Michelle wasn't there, right? Doute goes, it did not cross my mind. And Janet's like, psh, psh, whatever. In a talking head, Janet's like, I'm so frustrated with Kristen being like, Jenna, what? I didn't know, who knew? It's like, shut the fuck up. You know what you're doing. Very aggressive talking head from Janet. Janet at the table goes, no, she's doing the dirty work. She's doing the dirty work. And Jasmine's like, I mean, it's so toxic. And Janet's like, I mean, if you don't see that, come on. In a talking head, Janet says, I'm getting upset because I am watching Kristen run away with fan favorite. No, I am getting upset at Kristen because she is often sniper from the side. Janet, you are the sniper from the side. Like, there could be multiple snipers from the side, but come on. And pattern recognition, especially if you watch reality TV like we know Janet does, recognizes that behavior, but she is that as well. Janet says she's ride or die for Nia and will do almost anything, including taking down my marriage and taking down Michelle's relationship. Doute goes, this is a conversation that Michelle and I could have had without you being involved, Janet, and making it so much bigger. And then Janet does a sing-songy thing like we just had that clip of Doute in the first season goes, she had a boyfriend. And Janet goes, yeah, because we would hold you accountable. And Brittany's like, Janet, come on. And then Janet's like, accountable, a word you can't stand. And she's doing that like hands across her mouth like, I'm projecting my voice. And Doute's like, God. Jasmine in a talking head says, I just want the old Janet back because I want that fun Janet. That like you just want to be around. Like, I love her. But Janet right now, Jasmine says, she's just doing too much. Doute says, I am being disrespected as fuck right now, and I'm not having it. And she points at Janet. I'm out. And then Janet goes, see ya! Get your to-go box. Bye! And Doute's next to Nia, and Nia's like, Nia's like breaking down internally. She's like, And Doute's like, I'm so sorry. I just got to go. And Nia's like, it's just so intense. It's just so intense. And Doute's like, I know, baby. I know. I survived Vanderpump Rules. That's why I need to leave. I can't take this. And then Janet keeps screaming, no, I'm fucking done. I'm done with this. And Doute very chill. She's like, I'm out. See you guys tomorrow. See ya. Bye. God, remember the old Doute days with the cigarette and the cussing and all that stuff? Like, now just Doute politely excuses herself. And now Nia's at the booth by herself. I mean, the other girls are around her, but she's like, it's just too intense for me. And Michelle goes, Nia, why is it intense? And Nia's like, why is it intense? Is that a real question? And Janet's like, oh, all these tears. Oh, my God. And Nia's like, fuck you. Fuck you, Janet. Fuck you. You got Nia to curse. And Jasmine's like, what happened? What did you say? Nia and Atagna goes, I don't even recognize who Janet is. She's not the friend that I used to know. Janet goes, every time it's intense for her, it's tears. I'm done with that. Dude, some people, that's actually their natural state of being. Like, what do you mean? It's not, I don't think that it's an act Nia crying at all. I think Nia genuinely gets rocked by this shit. I think Nia lives in a very different world than the rest of the ladies at that table. But Nia and Atagna says, if she keeps pushing me and attacking me, I don't know if we're going to be able to continue having a friendship at all. And she'll sobbing out the door. And Janet goes, you're not going to say my husband's taking his ring off while your husband's fucking ass grabbing? First off, Nia's not the one that said your husband took his ring off. And you're the one saying her husband's ass grabbing. Brittany and Atagna goes, well, this night went to shit, and now I'm just terrified that this Hawaii trip is going to be a disaster. Janet goes, you know who wants to fucking cry? I want to fucking cry. Cry me a river. And then Nia's like, I got to shit. Intense scene. I think Janet, one of her worst scenes of the season. Really, really, really bad. And I feel like we talk about that concept of this show is like a court case and we're the jury watching it, and it really matters what makes it into the scene. Like the anger was completely unfounded. And then later we find out she had too much to drink. But like, like I said earlier, if you're going to accuse people of having drinking problems, make sure you come correct. And it does seem like, God, she was fed up, but we don't understand the anger. And it just came out like you're picking on Nia. And then Nia becomes the character that you almost root for. And it's like that one character, I always use this, like the one that eventually changes through reality TV, but becomes stronger. You know, not more thirsty, but just stronger, where like she has kind of a weak voice and she just wants everything to be perfect. And then next season, it's going to be like the end of Grease when Sandy comes out with like a cigarette and leather pants. I'm like, tell me about it, stud. Like, I want Nia to start next season of like, what the fuck? What's going on, you guys? My name's Nia. I got 4 kids. I got a guy that drinks booze in a pantry, and I'm ready to fucking rock. Let's go, Janet. Me and you, cage match now. That's what I feel like we're working up towards. We come back from break, and now it's field day. Hey, we had a bunch of dark scenes, but now we're going to act like we can all have fun with each other and dress in costumes like they do on Summer House on the weekends. And these kind of like, I read somebody was like, oh, it was really fun, and it was like really great to see them having fun. Like, I don't like activities to begin with. I like to sit on my big fat podcaster ass. But I was just like, I didn't feel anything about this because I'm like, they all hate each other. And Scheana's dressed in a referee outfit. And guess who's there? Jenna is there. They brought Jenna, the one that hooked up with Michelle's boyfriend, Aaron, in 2020. Brock's there like, hey, I'm ready to do a scene. Jack, Zach, Benji, Doute, the gang is all here. Michelle in the talking head goes, I'm annoyed ever since Jenna found out that I'm with Aaron. She just wants to be around all my friends. Do you think she wants to be around all your friends, or do you think they've like roped her into this because it's a potential storyline, right? I feel like there's like just a whole roster of people in this Vanderpump ecosystem that you're like, your number's finally called up. You get to be on camera more. Jasmine goes, Jasmine says, I definitely did ask Jenna to be the ref before El Coyote. So hopefully everything will go smooth. Like, what are you talking about? If these were real friends and you heard somebody breaking down about that, you'd be like, sorry, you can't come. Sorry, it has a problem. It's not going to be good, right? We see Jax there to the side, just taking it all in. Like he's like the invisible man. Sorry, justice for Jax Taylor. They were all so mean to him. Anyways, Jasmine's fiance says, thank you for all coming to our elementary field day. Jax is like, I was just told there was a small boy inside of me. Elementary school's great. We felt like this group needed to do some fun things and get out all of our aggression in a healthy way. The producer asked Zach, who do you think needs to get out their aggression the most? And Zach's like, Jesse. Before you don't even need to finish the quote, like Jesse. But also Jax, he does look like he's about to burst. Or maybe it's just like he's super sweaty and just got out of a tanning bed. But like he looks like an angry chicken right now. And there's a chicken sound. So they split this group into teams. Jasmine's captain of Team Red. Brittany's not there yet. It's Brock, Benji, Zach, Nia, Danny, Michelle, Nia. And then the girls on the other team are Janet, Kristen, Jax, Jesse, Jason, Luke. It would be great. It would just be great if all of a sudden, like, there's another team just with exes from their entire life. Like, Jason's like, did you really bring the girl I had a crush on in the 3rd grade? Yeah, eat that, Jason Caperna. You're going down. So everybody's trying to act excited. And Janet goes, I literally hate field day. I, instead of playing sports growing up, did magic lessons. I don't know, then don't participate. I don't know. Nia and Danny finally get there, and Janet sees them coming in. She goes, I'm going to barf. And Janet says that in Jax's direction. Like, why are you palling around with Jax at all? I am so confused with the friend dynamic. Janet says, not only do I hate everything about this entire field day and physical exercise, I don't want to be on a team with Kristen and Luke. This is literally my nightmare come true. Field day? Field day is your nightmare come true? Anyways, Brittany finally gets there. Hello! Brittany's here! Woo! Producer in a talking head goes, did you hear from Jax after he got served his paperwork? Yeah, Jax texted me and was like, I didn't expect it, but I understand why you did it. I think my plan is just to act like he doesn't exist, right? So the first game they're playing is a relay race, but it's like where you spin your hat on a bat a couple of times and then you have to balance an egg on the spoon. The second game, she says, is a crowd favorite. It's going to be tug of war. And Jason turns to Jax. We got that. He's like, we got that. I'm going to hurt people today. And so they do this I don't know, you guys. I don't care about these games. I'm sorry. So the red team gets 2 points. They win. I don't know. Brittany and Janet go off to the side, and Janet sits down, and Brittany's like, I feel energized now. And Janet goes, when the whole group gets together, it's fireworks. It feels like every time. And Brittany's like, yeah, you still feel like 100% like you want to be divorced? What a weird question. What are you encouraging? Like, you trying to confuse her? Brittany's like, no, I definitely still feel like good with what I've done. Do I not feel like even more sad? Because I have to see him now, of course. And Janet's like, it's weird when somebody goes from being like your family and somebody you see every single day to feeling more like a stranger. It will get easier and better, though. And Brittany's like, I really don't think I know who he is right now. I heard a rumor he went to a man's group. Doute is talking to Luke, and Jax comes up. And he goes, hey, by the way, thank you for being nice to me at Jesse's house the other night. I didn't see that coming. You shocked me with that. And Doute's like, no, I mean, I just said I was really fucking mad at you, Jax. Well, I just got out of rehab, and I'm like hit with divorce papers, like, Jesus. And Doute's like, it's a lot. It's a lot. It is. And Jax is like, the timing was just really, really bad. Yeah. Doute goes, just try to mind your P's and Q's until after Hawaii. And then that's going to speak volumes. And he goes, all right. And Nia is talking to Jesse. and saying that Danny and Nia came in hot, didn't really say hi to anybody because they were already playing. I don't know, you guys. In a talking head, Nia's like, Janet and I, we have not spoken. We're not good. And I just don't want to be anywhere near her, to be completely honest. The producers are like, make sure we book as many scenes to put Nia in front of Janet as possible. Back to Brittany. Brittany asked Janet, have you talked to Nia at all today? And Janet's like, I was fired up. I haven't been mad like that in so long. And honestly, it's built up because it's like Kristen blurted out this ring rumor about Jason because she was trying to like defend Danny and Nia. So like I blame them almost as a whole for like throwing out suspicions that my husband's cheating on me when I know he's not. So Janet is mad at Danny and Nia as well because Danny and Nia inspired Doute to spout. That's so messed up. Janet says, I guess when I saw her like start crying, I just think it's like bullshit. I mean, I didn't feel like it doesn't look like bullshit at all. And Janet's like, Michelle's the one who's like being like, drugged through everything right now. And I'm still annoyed by it. Janet, if Michelle's being drugged through everything, be a better friend to her. Love on her more like Doute's loving on Nia. And then Brittany's like, are you guys going to talk before we go to Hawaii? And for some reason, Brittany laughs. Are you guys going to talk before you go to Hawaii? And Janet's like, I don't know. And that's the, cut to commercial right. So now we have Luke over at Kyle Chan Design dropping off his gecko, but also secretly getting Kristen Doute's engagement ring. And Luke is like, there's the gecko. And Kyle Chan's like, oh my God, it's so huge. It's like, and then Luke's like, we got to be quick. Kristen's tracking my location, which I love that line. And, by the way, you don't think it was suspicious that you were dropping off a gecko? That's the thing that would have thrown like, hey, that's weird. Anyways, Luke's looking at the ring and he's like, it looks beautiful, right? And then Luke says, we're leaving Tuesday, but tomorrow we're going to go see my grandma. She's not doing well. And she's trying to Luke says he's trying to block that out of his mind at the moment so he can focus on this. In a talking head, Luke says his grandma has cancer and I feel pretty emotionally unstable at the moment. I mean, Luke is so even keeled that even when he talks about feeling emotionally like unstable, he reads very stable, right? But he says he's been planning this for a while with proposing to Kristen. And Luke tells Kyle, I really don't want to blow it. This surprise is so important to me. But he says he doesn't fully know how it'll all affect me, he says. Anyways, Kyle's like, well, good luck. And then Luke says, love you, Kyle. And Kyle's like, love you too. Everybody is way too close with everybody in this friend group. Like everybody loves Kyle. What are we? I love you to Kyle. And then Kyle comes out and gives Luke I'm like, Kyle, you're not in the man group. What is this? Is the life coach about to come out? What are you trying to clear with Luke? Anyways, says, I'll see you in a week. Hopefully I don't bring the ring back. And Kyle's like, it's a full carrot. She'll say yes. Also, we want to take a moment, as we do usually every episode, to say, fuck cancer. Cancer, fuck you. The worst cast member of the Valley is cancer. Ugh. Okay, so we hop from that scene, and now it's 2 days later. We're in Studio City at Janet and Jason's house. And Jason's like, are you excited about this trip? And Janet's like, yes and no. It just feels weird going on a trip with people that I'm like, half of them I'm not talking to. I know I owe Nia an apology because I went hard on her. Like she was tearing up and I went hard on her. But it's also so hard to apologize to her right now because I'm still upset about being gaslit by her. And their son is there. Their cute son is there and poops in the middle of the scene, which I'm pretty sure Jax has done multiple scenes. It's one of those weird that it really takes you out of the scenes when like the kids get in there. You're like, oh, a kid. Anyways, Janet goes, did you poop? Did you poop? Jason warned that kid to never join a man's group or be in a man text exchange. But all of a sudden, Janet has softened in her behavior towards Nia and realized that it was bad. She wasn't like that at the tug of war games the other night. Nia is talking to Danny, going like, Hawaii's going to be a beautiful place. I'm going with you. We won't have any kids there. I'm going to have a great time. I'm not going to, Janet can say whatever she wants to say, and prayerfully, it won't trigger me. Prayerfully. That is a very interesting word. Prayerfully. And Danny goes, rule your atmosphere. Rule your atmosphere. Rule it. We do round robin at this point. We're visiting everybody. we're over at Zach and Benji, and Zach's like, I think because Kristen is super not happy with Janet, are they going to wear the shirts we got with like Luke and Kristen's face saying like just engaged? You know, I feel like there's going to be one more volcano erupting on the Hawaiian island this weekend. And I don't know if it's going to be Luke, Kristen, or Janet. The producers are like, there better be it. We're not sending you guys to Hawaii for a volcano to not erupt. Also, they made merch. Oh, I want that shirt so badly. Okay, and now we're over at Doute's. She's packing up, and she's like, babe, do you want me to bring you something to drink? And Luke's like, I think I need a beer. I love that they're the couple that day drinks. Luke says, Kristen and I just got back from seeing my grandma, and we see a picture of Luke and his grandma, and he's like, it's tough. I just need to be present for Kristen in this proposal. And we see him throw the ring in a duffel bag. I'm like, you went through all this pains to like hide things from Kristen. You're just throwing it in a duffel bag. You don't think she's going to go through all your luggage, man? But he really wants it to make the happiest day of their lives so far, right? So they're packing about what do you bring for fishing, water shoes. And Luke says, I talked to Nia a little bit, and she said, us girls are just going to look cute and take pictures. And Doute's like, perfect, cute. Yeah, it's like, Nia's like, just barefoot and pregnant. So we see Doute packing a bunch of outfits, and Luke says, I think the guys are all on the same page going into this, but you told me things went awry and Janet was screaming at you the other night. And Doute goes, yeah, no, bitch is done. Eek! And she makes a sound, eek, and kind of does the done motion, eek. Luke says, I know Nia is done with her as well. And Doute goes, I tried to give her a chance, but I'm just more upset about what she said to Nia than anything. Doute in a tugging head says, I don't plan on speaking to Janet at all in Hawaii. As far as I'm concerned, our friendship is over, and she doesn't really exist to me. She tells Luke, I don't even know why she wants to come on the trip. I guess because she has Brittany as a friend and Michelle. It's what a wild world we live in. So we get out of that scene. Oh, man. And we see Jack Taylor. Jax Taylor is at an outdoor cafe. He's looking at his phone, and the phone's ringing. Who could it possibly be? But nobody answers. He's like, nobody's answering the phone. He looks really tense, and then he picks back up his phone again, and the waitress comes. Why? How many waiters and waitresses are we going to see this episode? And she's like, how are you doing? And he's like, good. I'm waiting for somebody, but I'm going to get some drinks at least. No, not alcoholic. No. Can I get a cup of coffee and can I get a Diet Coke? And the waitress leaves. And Jax is just staring off into the street. And then he's looking at his phone and he goes, Brittany cannot be on time to save her life, man. Another no. Brittany's a horrible fucking person, man. In a talking head, Jax goes, I have so many things I want to talk about with Brittany today. I'm sticking the tail between my legs because I don't really have a leg to stand on here, even though I'm bad-mouthing her directly to the camera by myself in this scene right now. I think she knows that we have to talk at some point. I mean, we have a child together, I think. All of a sudden, his phone rings, and she goes, hello? Or he tries to call her again. She goes, hello? And he's like, hey, where are you? In a talking head, he goes, I haven't even seen Cruz yet. He still has not seen Cruz? And then Brittany goes, I'm not going to come. He's like, you're not? No. Why not? Sorry, I'm doing both. Why not? Well, because I woke up to a flood of DMs talking about you last night, how drunk you were at the bar and how you were with girls and hanging out. And he's like, I wasn't drunk at all. I went home early. Yes, you were. You were drunk. There are photos of you. People are sending me DMs and everything. Girl said you sent her a text saying, I still smell like your butt. In a talking head, Brittany goes, I have been trying to keep my space from Jack since he's been out of the facility. And the only reason I agreed to go meet with him today, because we do have a child together. We are going to have to co-parent. We are going to have to move forward in some capacity. And Brittany tells Jax on the phone, she goes, I don't need you for anything. I've got everything handled here at the house, and that's it. I'll blow my own leaves. In a talking head, she goes, he was just supposed to work on himself for 30 days. And as soon as he gets out, he goes to the bar. I'm not putting up with that crap anymore. This is how Brittany got her groove back, waiting to exhale. She says to him, she goes, I think you're a terrible, vile human being, and you really put me in a terrible situation. Jackson at Talking Head goes, we are getting divorced, okay? We are no longer together. So what I do on my own time is my business. Wow, sounds like a man who's been to a man group and has been therapized a lot. This guy is healed. I love, like, it's like, you get whiplash with how quick he changes his, like, thoughts and opinions. He tries to say the right thing for the cameras, then immediately he'll backtrack on that and be like, what I do is what I do. Ah! Anyways, she's like, I can't believe you're still doing this. You're 45 and still, and then Jax hangs up on her. And he looks at the camera and he goes, well, that's that. And then he makes his face like, okay. And then the waitress comes up, you need some to-goes? And he goes, yeah, horrible bitch. I don't know if you heard her. Horrible person, this Brittany. And this song plays underneath it. It goes, I got a brand new heart. In the Talking Head, Jax goes, that was a nightmare too. Fuck, it was so embarrassing. So embarrassing eating by myself. Ugh. Only weirdos eat by themselves. And he goes, like, why did she do that? She just didn't show. Huh. Guess I'm the real person that cares about this relationship. And then he gets into his truck. Remember, this is like the same truck that he did a hit and run. And remember, TMZ like picked up the story because like that's not funny, but it's true. And Jack says, I was at the bar last night, but I was home by 11. Huh. So, I mean, so sad. I mean, first sad and then frustrating that the dude already is drinking at his bar. Like, he has no control over anything. So I think that's the scary part. If he can't even control that or try to control that, then how are we to expect that he's not going to control his behavior towards Brittany in some sort of way? And that's where it gets not funny at all. There's nothing, you know? I was watching this one TikTok, maybe I'll play it for you guys later. And they were just calling Jax a family annihilator. And where I was like, that is so fucking harsh. But then when you really think about it, you're just like, if you are not in control of any of your fucking emotions, how are we supposed to trust that you're not going to do something insane because you think Brittany's going to get more attention than you think people are more empathetic and sympathetic towards her, without realizing, of course we would be more empathetic and sympathetic with Brittany. Of course we would be. And then one time he'll be like, well, I get that. I want her to take it easy and have a good time. And then the other, she's like, she doesn't deserve any of that. Ah. Okay, so we go from that miserable scene, and then all of a sudden, we're in Hawaii. Yeah, fun times. And we're driving over there, and Zach is relaying the information. If there's a pineapple on your door, like that means you want to swing. And he's in the car with Aaron, the honeydew that dates Michelle, and Janet and Benji. And I'm just scared that Aaron is going to be putting pineapples everywhere now. Like, Aaron gives me swinger vibes. Maybe it's the eyes. I don't know. Anyways, they all check into the hotel, and Zach and Benji got upgraded to the presidential suite. And Luke is like, kind of like, why didn't Zach give us the presidential suite? I'm going to get like engaged. Also, like, did they think Zach was the star of the Valley? But Luke in a Talking Head's like, he knows what's going on. He's one of 3 people that are in on this. Zach is toasting Danny and Nia and Benji of like, Operation Get Kristen Engaged. All right. They've got a secret, right? So Nia's like, welcome everybody. We're all checked in. So time to go to our rooms, drop off our bags. And then we actually have cabanas reserved by the pool. So let's go. Because remember, this is supposed to be Nia's trip. So it throws Doute off the scent. So everybody's checking into their rooms. Danny goes into his room. Oh, baby, ocean view. Oh, my God. Did they create their 4th baby in Hawaii? Also, did the Hyatt have to give discounts to the rest of the people staying at the resort? Like, the moment this cast, like, checked in, they would be like, does everybody feel like a dark energy that just moved over this hotel? Ugh. But Danny's like, this is incredible. All right. Some rooms are connected. Zach and Benji go into the presidential suite. Jesse also has a presidential suite. There's 2 presidential suites. Jesse's like, little did I know I have to share it with Benji and Zach. Oh, there's 1. They have to share it, right? Zach's already taking photos in the bathroom, like the whole thing. It's a huge experience. And then Michelle's in her bedroom with Aaron, and she's like, "Do you want some champagne, my love?" And Aaron's like, "Yeah, I can feel like I can actually breathe now after seeing Jesse and just like being in the same room." It is like probably a pretty crazy experience to be dating a girl that like her ex-husband is literally on a cast trip and you're filming a reality show. And Michelle goes, "Did you say hi?" And he goes, "No, we didn't even acknowledge each other. So, you know." Michelle's like, "I think that's good." And he's like, "He's going to be in our lives. And one day we could do a family trip or, you know." And Michelle's like, "Yeah, did you say, oh, family?" She's like, "Oh my God, Isabella said she wants you to be her dad and that she wants you to buy me a 3.2 princess cut diamond. She said that, I swear to God." Do you notice how she always makes this, like she'll relay a story of Isabella that like, I don't think Isabella's ever said. "I never said that, Mom. Are you kidding me? That doesn't even sound like me." But Michelle goes, "It's a long ways away." And he goes, "It's positive thinking, you know?" And by the way, I know everybody's making fun of this dude's eyes, but like some people just have like, he's still like a good looking dude, right? I don't know, but like he just has big eyes. Some people have big eyes. I have like, I have dark circles under my eyes, but you know, he can't help that he has big eyes. I mean, that's not mean to say. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, Jason's talking to Janet and Jason's like, "It'll be fun if we make it fun." And I'm like, oh my God, you guys really went into this in not a good way. And Jason's relaying to Janet, "Me and Danny, that's my only, that's the thing that's making it awkward, the soreness in that relationship. But after that squash, then I'll be ready to have a lot of fun." And Janet's like, "Well, it's also, you know, it's up to all four of us, right?" "Well, you guys are the ones that seem to have the major problems with them and not vice versa." So everybody's now like getting ready to go to the cabanas. Benji's rubbing lotion on Zach's back. The height difference is so different between Benji and Zach. It's very cute. Anyways, Brittany is, man, Brittany's outfits are wild. Brittany comes down. She's like, "Party's here. Woo!" Did Brittany come separately? Anyways, Brittany screams, "Tequila, let's go. Woo, shots, shot, shot." She must have loved when that LMFAO song came out. Shot, 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 shots. Anyways, Jason and Danny are on the pool and they awkwardly cheers their drinks like men. Like, "What's up, dude?" And Jason's like, "Thanks for setting this whole thing up." And Danny's like, yeah. "I know, obviously, Jason, we've been trying to squash a lot of stuff. Feels good. And Jason says, "Yeah, I know we're trying to squash stuff. The girls, you know, then got into it the same day." And Danny's like, exactly. Jason's like, "And then that makes things more complicated." And Danny's like, "It feels awkward. It does. You know?" And Jason's like, "Yeah, Janet feels awkward." We see the rest of the group cheersing on another corner of the pool while Danny and Jason talk. And Jason's like, "Why don't we just get the girls just real liquored up and then we all hook it?" No, he goes, "Why don't we just get the girls and we'll just talk right now, the four of us, right? And see what happens. What do you think?" And Danny's like, "Let's try it. Nia, get over here." And Jason's like, Janet, can you please come?" And so they're like swimming over and everybody's kind of giggly and Janet comes over smiling. And Danny's like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And it's awkward. And Danny's like, "Here we are in beautiful Maui. You know, and Jason and I have had some conversations on the side. I don't know if he told you about our men's group where we put our hands on each other's chests. But I know one was a really good conversation. And I know you guys had another little tiff. So, and Janet goes, "I do want to apologize for that. I, first of all, had way too much to drink." And Nia goes, "That early in the night?" Ooh, Nia. Looks like somebody has been studying their reality TV because that is what we call a zinger. Wow, that early in the night. And it is very reflective of when Janet was talking about Pantry Danny taking some, you know, but Nia jumps right in there. And Janet clocks that and she's like, "Huh?" And Janet goes, "I had literally, those margaritas and shots were so strong and I should have never yelled at you." Okay, progress. And Janet goes, honestly, I deserved every bit of that fuck you. And he is like, and I'm sorry that I said that. I asked God for forgiveness. And Janet goes, I deserved it. And Janet goes, I want to apologize to you, obviously, at Britt's opening. We had some cocktails and should never have even brought up what I was trying to bring up in that environment. I hate that happened. And Janet says, I can totally forgive you because I'm human. I know what I did was not right. And Jason goes, we can forgive a lot of the stuff and move forward. And as time goes on, it heals wounds. Nia in a talking head goes, it's honestly a little hard for me to read if Janet's being genuine because it's Janet. I do have my guard up. I am not going to let someone walk all over me or hurt me over and over and over again. What do you think? I'm Brittany? After a few times, it's going to be a wall up for sure. I'm sure that wall is fully up at this point. Anyways, Janet's like, okay, well, I'm going to sleep better at night. And Danny goes, I lost so much sleep. I wake up thinking about Janet all the time. And Janet laughs, but I think Danny's being serious. Like, I'm scared of Janet. Jason says, thank you guys for still including us in the trip. And, even though all of this craziness. And he is like, we would never do that. And Janet's like, I would do that. We know, Janet, we know. And Jason goes, come on. And Janet's like, no, I would have cut them. Definitely. Awkward. You do not have to admit every thought that you think is funny. You do not have that come out of your mouth. It is so weird. But it is interesting in those moments is that so what you're hopping on Danny for is what you exhibited at El Coyote. So it really undercuts any kind of argument that you have against Danny. And like I said, we can only go by what we see on this show. So if there's other shit, you got to bring it out because if, we don't hear it, then it does make you look like a wackadoo that is just harping on Danny when you have people like Jax over here and Jesse over here who seem to be actively abusing their ex-partners. Back from break and the producer is like to Jesse going, how do you feel about Aaron coming on the trip? And Jesse's like, I've had some issues with Aaron. He starts dating my still wife with a 4-year-old daughter. I would expect a man to call me up and say, listen, I'm spending a lot of time with your daughter. Do you have any boundaries? It would never happen. I mean, does he have a leg to stand on there? I mean, is that what... I feel like that should go through Michelle first and then work up. But maybe I'm thinking about this wrong at all. Anyways, Benji and Zach are in the pool eating pineapple. I don't know if it's a signal to have. Anyways, Luke is going to go on a walkabout because he's kind of feeling emotional about his grandma. And Luke says, my emotions are all over the place. Tomorrow is the big day for the engagement. I'm nervous about proposing tomorrow, and I can't tell Kristen. And Doute's like, do you want to tell me right now what's going on? Or do you want to tell me in private? And Luke is like, I and she's like, did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong, Luke? And he goes, in private. So they have like a code when they're filming. So Doute says, I can only assume that this has to do with his grandma. Luke is typically such a great communicator, so I'm mostly just frustrated with him because he's not giving me anything, which now I'm scared because I feel like next week's episode, Doute is going to fight with Luke about him being weird on his walkabout, right? I feel like that's going to happen. In fact, I think in the trailer, there was a fight where Luke's like, I just need a little support from you. Okay, so now everybody's getting ready for the dinner, getting all glammed for the dinner from hell, potentially. Who knows? Benji and Zach are showering together in the presidential suite, and Jesse's like, okay, guys, I gotta shower. No funny business. You better not be butt fucking, please. But they are actually just like laughing and giggling, and Jesse's like, don't worry, guys, I'll be fine. I feel like Jesse would love to hop in that shower with him. Like, all kidding aside, I think Jesse just wants love. We see Jesse ironing his shirt, and we see clips of Aaron, the hot honey man, picking up Michelle on the beach, which is like supposedly what we're supposed to think is running through Jesse's head. Jesse says, Michelle's just so short-sighted. I mean, look, when your wife cheats on you and then says that her boyfriend wasn't the one she cheated on, like, I don't know. Can you trust somebody like that? And they start showing up everywhere. And they flash back to the first episode of the season when he was there. And Doute saying she had a fucking boyfriend for a year. And Jesse's saying, you swore on Isabella's life that you didn't cheat on me. And then once again, that Doute's party where Jesse's talking to that girl going, I had heard that like a year and a half ago, Michelle and him were together. There's just too many things. Like his honey company that's been in my cabinet for 2 years. There was a time Michelle had gone all done up one day and she started to do these hikes in the morning, these walks to Runyon. And I'd be like, why aren't you wearing your wedding ring? And then another scene where Jesse's like, not letting me go to the coffee shop with her in the morning, not letting me hike Runyon with her when we were married. There had to have been something. And now he's commenting on my spoiling Isabella. And we see a clip of like Aaron saying, oh, we get her anything that she wants. Or my 7 p.m. FaceTime when I'm not with her. And we see all of them walking down to dinner as the credits start rolling, right? Michelle admitted that she cheated on me. And I think that she cheated on me with Aaron. And now I have to be on vacation with him. And I will say, this doesn't make Aaron got into my creep category at this last line. He's like, I just want to eat. I just want to eat. He goes, I just want to eat, sleep, and love you the right way. Get out of the table. You're in public. Ew. I just want to eat, sleep, and love you the right way. What are you? Oh, God. The producer asks Jesse, how does that make you feel? And Jesse goes, like he deserved a fucking punch in the face. And then we flash forward to 2 hours later and we see Jesse go, did you or did you not cross a line? Did you or did you not cross a line? And he's sitting across from Aaron. And this is where Aaron's doing some pretty intense eye work. When I was married to Michelle, emotional, physical, in any way, did you cross a line? And then there's like the music's like dun 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 dun. It's like a tight shot of Jesse and then a tight shot of Aaron. And then Aaron's eyes are like, zoinks. By the way, why is Jesse like so hopped up on this Runyon thing? I just hiked Runyon last weekend. It was to fuck Aaron, but I was there. That's crazy. You guys, an end of another horrific episode of The Valley. So next week will be episode 12, and I think it goes to episode 15, and then we have a 3-part reunion, and I know they start shooting in August. And also, if they do decide to bring Jax Taylor back, I was trying to think of ways to make it work so everybody's safe. They should introduce like a new character and be like, oh, this is my friend from high school. And then the character is just like, but like in real life, the person's like a licensed trauma therapist that like is just assigned to Jax in every scene. And he's like, why are you always here? Well, I'm just here as the part of the cast. Like never reveals that they're an actual therapist, but it's just, they're always there on set just in case, just to work things out for Jax. Who knows, you guys? Okay. So you would think like we're done. No, we are not done. We're going to keep on going because I want to read everybody. I want to read everybody's questions and comments that they put on my Instagram today. Cause I was like, what are you guys thinking? What do you want to talk about in terms of the Valley? And so let's go through these as we wind down this episode. You know what it is? Aaron kind of has Ramona Singer eyes. He kind of has Ramona Singer eyes. That's what it is. I don't know. I just keep wondering about the Jax thing. By the way, thank you for letting me work through my feelings. This is more therapy for me. You can really tell I'm struggling. But I just keep thinking, like, how do we take damaged people like Jax, who, you know, mental health truly is a real thing. How do we take people that do have real mental health issues and how do we help them and treat them, but also protect the people that they've harmed? How do you do both things? Because even if they cut Jax loose, how do you make sure that Brittany is safe? How do you, like, those are the things that I've just been arguing with myself in my head about over and over again. It's probably a real waste of time. Okay. Jessica writes, I wish there was more focus on the financial aspect to incite debt because of an abusive, and then it cut her off. I think you can only write so much. But I think what she means here is Jax is financially abusing Brittany as well because he just stopped paying the mortgage and she literally had to take care of everything. And if you watch the after show, Brittany talked about how much she has had to take care of. Jax was just like, fuck it, you know? And that is a form of emotional abuse as well. Melanie says Jax needs to go. Well, you're the only person that thinks that. JK, pretty much like every one of these comments is mostly Jax and mostly they don't like Janet. Davina says, How could all of the ladies in the Mexican restaurant just sit there and listen to Janet be so acidic? Um, I don't know. It was a free meal. No, I mean, that is the one thing is nobody stepped up to Janet and was like, Janet, what is going on? What is with you? And I think that just shows the divide of the cast. And I also think it shows the power of Janet within that friend group. Even if the audience is not responding to her, I think that friend group, I wouldn't say fears Janet, but I would say she comes off to a certain group of those women as like somebody that is a leader in a sense. But I think that's why, like, cause I was wondering that too, is that why did nobody go like, Janet, what the fuck, man? Where's this coming from? T-Star said, oh, I love T-Star. You have to fire 4 people. Who? That's a great question. If I would fire, see, but this is not going to be popular because I would also try to be thinking about who is going to create the most conflict. That's a great question. Who do you let go of? And who do you, because you really have to think about who rubs people raw. I mean, even the audience, who rubs people raw? Like people are like, let Jax and Janet go. And I understand what they're saying. I think I would let go of Jax. But I logistically, I'm just like, how does that work without making things worse? I feel like it's, a fool's errand. I feel like something bad or like an immediate lawsuit's going to happen. I would potentially let go of Michelle. And I like Michelle. I think Michelle is one of those people that might be more dynamic in person than on camera. But I don't know how that would work with Jesse. Like Jesse would feel like he won the lottery when it's like, no, you're just more toxic. And that's why you would be kept. And especially if we're cutting Jax loose. Who else would I let go? I thought Jasmine had some good scenes. I see there's some potential. And who else would I let go? I would have to keep Janet and Jason, which I know is very unpopular, but I mean, they stir shit up. And I don't even think half the time they're purposely trying. It is just in them. So that is going to create a certain dynamic. I would keep Danny and Nia, obviously keep Kristen and Luke, but I would actually want to focus a little bit more on Kristen and Luke, which I just don't know if Kristen is in that place. She definitely is not giving crazy Kristen anymore. And I mean that as a compliment, even though I loved aspects in retrospect of watching crazy Kristen. Okay, so we've let go of Michelle, we've let go of Jax, and who else? Guys, I don't know. I don't want to produce this show. I gave you 2. Sajani G says, who is the least worst? Yeah, everybody's the worst. Who is the least worst? I would have, a couple episodes ago, I would have said Jason's the least worst, but I do not love the way in which the last couple of episodes have gone down in regards to Danny. I think the least worst is Kristen and Luke at this point. Thoughts on if they'll make it to season 3? Yeah, they're definitely going to make it to season 3. Season 3 is happening, whether we like it or not. Season 3, yes. I just don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on Jax, or is there a possibility they make him a friend of? They cut his time way back. Love you, Ryan. Great job on your health journey so far. Oh, thank you, Chrissy. What a nice comment when we're talking about darkness. Sky says, happy Jax is not in Maui. Did production not allow him or didn't want to be watched over? Or he didn't want to be watched over? I think it was a mixture of a lot of things, but I don't think he was invited, to be honest. Because he had such FOMO. So it is weird. I think it seems like he got a talking to. Hi, Karen says, why is no one firing Jax? Maybe everybody is scared of Jax. Maybe all the producers are like, you do it. No, you do it. No, I don't want to do it. They all do seem scared of him in some way. I don't know. I really don't know. And I'm curious. That decision will have to be made in the next month. And I do think it has been up for discussion. Gem and QB says, why do you think people dislike Janet so much? I do not get it. She is a lot, but the hate is a lot. I think we are primed as viewers of reality TV in the year 2025 to really dislike people. And I also think we perceive certain people to be underdogs. And if they get picked on, it really rubs us raw. I think there's a confluence of events, especially for Janet, where, people call her Fanit and Vanderpump Rules and Scheana, which, yeah, I don't know. I don't think she palled up with Scheana to eventually get on a reality show 10 years later. But I understand people's comments about that. But I think it's a bunch of events. And I think that, it is interesting that I feel like she's getting as much hate as Jax, which kind of blows me away. But I think it's her, like, her natural tendencies. I think she thinks she's a reliable narrator, so she knows the right way. And when somebody is that aggressive with it, it can really tend to turn off an audience. But like I always say, things have a way of changing. Who knows? Maybe at some point Janet will be heralded. I don't know. If you know, 134 says hashtag me so horny. We see you, Ryan Bailey. What does that even mean? And then they say, do you think Jax has sensitive nips too? Oh, LOL. It's because Jeff Lewis says that I said I had sensitive nipples, which I don't. I have no feeling in my nipples. They're dead, you guys. These are fake boobs. Thank you for that comment. Who knew your eyes were the color of the ocean? Oh, what is this? My mom from heaven? Lisa says no more Jax. June says, why are you friends with Janet? I knew Janet before any reality. I've known Janet since 2018, 2019. She's actually come on some of the earlier episodes of this pod to talk about reality TV. And she was always great. She's always really nice. I have not experienced this side of Janet. I do, or at least I've heard from other people that I do know she loves to get into the Reddit and she loves to gossip. And I think a lot of these people do. But I've always had a good experience with her. So that, I don't know, if you have a good experience with somebody and they haven't been an outright dick to you. Now, if I find out she's talking a bunch of shit about me personally, I would feel differently. But yeah, I don't film with her. It's not like the kind of friendship where I'm in her day-to-day, her weekly or her monthly life. So she's always been good to me. So yeah, that's it. Christina Byington says, Christina says, why does Janet suck ass? And then she says, can you say Barcelona and Ibiza? Barcelona and Ibiza. She loves when I say Barcelona and Ibiza. She also says Beyonce still sucks. Christina's in our Patreon and she said Beyonce sucks ass. And I was like, what are you talking about? Me and Christina very much disagree about that. That is Looney Tunes behavior to say Beyonce sucks. Let's see. That girl is Krista says, will the Frank Dremen account stay active? So Frank Dremen, of course, is Jax's Instagram that got his Finsta account that got busted out last week. Let's see what Frank Dremen has done this week. Oh, wow. Frank Dremen now follows nobody and he has 2 followers. So this count looks, oh, wait. Oh, guys, everybody's following the wrong Frank Dremen. So there's another. Oh, okay. So there was another account. So the original Frank Dremen account is Frank_Dremen_. That was the actual account. And then one got created last week, Frank_Dremen. And 807 people have followed that in the last week. That is, maybe Jack started that one as well in the last week, but that was not the initial account that the show is talking about. I think everybody mistook that for that account. Okay, what else do we got here? It's very loose. Sorry, I'm just pulling up the Instagram questions again. Why do you? Hey, we've got Roni Ruse says, Janet is ruining the show for me almost as much as Jax and Jesse. Wow. Jillian Rue says, is Janet making Jason catty? I don't think he'd beef with Danny otherwise. I do wonder, but like if you are with your partner, you tend to take on certain attributes and certain thought patterns. And, they've had long drawn out conversations that we're not privy to. But I don't think Jason seems like a person that does not want a lot of conflict. In fact, he still is friends with Jax, which is wild. But yeah, there's a chance you do take on certain attributes. Angie says I'm going to sneeze. Sorry, you guys. Bless you. I hope I didn't blow anybody's ears out. Angie says, you are the best. Oh, that's very nice. Jessica says, am I the only one who likes Janet? She's not perfect, but great TV. Okay. Janet's had 2 semi-positive comments. Bella Talks TV says, help me understand how people are defending Danny. Hating Jax Janet is not a reason. So here Bella says that she's like, why are people defending Danny? Because I can't speak for Bella, but obviously Danny did drunkenly, grab Jasmine's girlfriend's butt and said, get daddy a drink. So she's wondering why people are defending Danny. But I will say, Bella, if we're going by the show, what you see of Danny is like, even with the Brits bar, like I said when I did the recap, it did not look like he was wasted. It looked like he was drinking, but I didn't think he was like hammered out of his gourd. So what the show is showing us supports Danny more than it supports Janet and Jason from what we see on the show. So I think that's why, right? I think that's why. Kate says Kate says people should leave Brittany alone. It doesn't matter if she knew what Jax's history was. It's the fact she finally came to her senses and did what was best for Cruz. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Kate. Are you totally? People should leave Brittany alone. Like, let her go through this. And I think it really, truly is a very hard thing to do, especially when it's a person like Jax Taylor. Sarah says other words for dark to describe the valley: sinister and grim energy. Okay, Sarah, I like that because I always say it's dark. We're going to now call the valley sinister or grim energy. This is a very grim energy episode of the valley. I love this, Sarah. Barbie says hearing a lot about Janet being a VPR groupie and that's how she got into the valley. That is speculation, and I think Janet was on Watch What Happens Live and said, yeah, I did fucking like Vanderpump Rules, but I didn't go up to Scheana at this pool party thinking I'm going to totally be her best friend and wind up on the valley 10 years later. And like I say, at this point, anybody in that, by the way, everybody in that friend group has been a fan of Vanderpump Rules. Everybody in that friend group. They're like, truly, they'll say they don't like the show, but they all watch the show. Scott says Jax should not be back next season. There's good TV and there's enabling a monster, which is a very popular opinion and one that I am tending to agree with. I just don't know how you do it where it doesn't end up causing more trouble in the long run. I don't know. Like, he is not going to go down. He's going to go down kicking and screaming. Sarah says, please tell us Brittany has full legal custody of Cruz. I believe she does. I'm not sure. I think the divorce gets finalized in July, but I believe that is the case. Sarah says, Jax reminds me of the song Hi Ren by Ren, R-E-N. Ren makes music. Check it out. Okay, I will check that out. What if the song is like, I am Ren, Sorry, you guys, I'm tired. Stefan83 says, it's the kids. You are right. This season would not be as dark if no children were filmed. I will say, besides Isabella, who they're all adorable kids, and I do like doing Isabella's fake gruff voice. It is true. Like, that is the part where I'm like, maybe we should make a rule about the kids being on the show. It does make me a little uncomfortable when it's like this dark, and then they're like, hey, there's my child. Sarah says, why is Jax not in Hawaii? Is he allowed after his Sonny stealing incident? We talked about this. Sarah says, what is Jax's contract? I don't know. Like, I mean, I do know, I believe they go year to year. I believe you can be cut at any time. It's not like a baseball team where you have like a 3-year extension. But I think Jax, his manager, Ryan Revel, I believe is a producer on the show. Jax always says he brought the show. But Jax is not listed as a producer on this show. And I do believe at a certain, I don't know. It's so tricky. Think about it. Like, if they're covering this, I don't know. I think it would be very tricky. I think Jax would, even though I think they're covered legally, I think Jax would still try to sue. So I'm not sure about if anybody can give me, if anybody out there wants to be a whistleblower and give me Jax's contract, that would be amazing. Sarah also said that Kristen in the comments, and I believe I screenshotted this. Yes. So somebody left a comment about last night's The Valley episode and says, well, we saw Janet last night, the true Janet, thinks she might have a drinking problem. She was sipping down those margaritas awfully quick. And then somebody replied, yep, I think it needs to be addressed. Stat, wonder if she's drinking at home during the day. Is her child safe? Should we be concerned about joyless Janet when she starts hitting those margs? See how easy it is to start some bullshit, Janet? Stop being so slanderous and reckless with other people's reputations in order to manufacture a storyline. And Kristen Doute replied to that going, hee-hee, with the hee-hee emoji. And then somebody wrote, why is Janet going to Hawaii? That's nuts. And Kristen Doute wrote, we try not to live with regrets, ... However, ... I love that Kristen Doute is potentially breastfeeding and she's like leaving comments on things about Janet. So that's what you're referring to about Kristen being in the comments. Beckel says it seems like Kristen hasn't been on screen that much this season. I agree. I don't know. Maybe Kristen seems like one of those people that's like, I'll film if I want to film. She kind of seems at peace, and it doesn't seem like she's trying to get camera time, which is kind of refreshing because you get the sense on a lot of reality TV shows that everybody's like fighting for storylines. So it is kind of refreshing, right? Is Janet perhaps going through some PPD, and did she say she was previously part of AA? I think she said she was part of Al-Anon, which was brought up and then cut from an episode when she threw that at Nia, and that has never gotten brought up since, and I don't think they're going to bring that up at the reunion. So PPD, I had to look up because I'm an idiot, is postpartum depression. I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, it really is. That's a very real thing. And I mean, I worry about anybody that's pregnant. Like, that seems to be an issue that a lot of people go through. And I'm wondering if that's going to color next season. Like, I wonder how Kristen's going to be postpartum, and I wonder how Nia's going to be postpartum. Like, those are real things. God, everybody's leaving these like things that I have I'm like, Sarah says, do they have an EAP program for the cast? These questions are making me feel like the idiot I am, because let's look up what EAP is, because I do not know that. EAP. Oh, in a employee assistance program. It is a work-based intervention program designed to assist employees in resolving personal problems that may be adversely affecting their job performance, health, and well-being. These programs typically offer assessment, short-term counseling, and referral services to employees and sometimes their families. I got to say that's a big fat no. I do not think they have an EAP. I think if they did, we probably wouldn't even have had Vanderpump Rules up to season 5. I think they would have like, okay, everybody's good. Hey, Jenny B says, after show, so far this season, what do you think the biggest reveal is? You know, I don't know if it's the biggest reveal, but I just think it's like the constant back and forth of just showing how deeply Jax lies about specifics. And he has really no problem lying about big things. And to have Brittany intercut in that after show, and you totally believe everything that Brittany is saying, and you just realize how deep and dark all of the lies go. I think that has been the biggest reveal to me, is we've always been told Jax is a liar and we've seen it, but to see it that much proof has been like a big thing for me. Sarah also says, break the fifth wall and let us know how production actually feel about Jax Taylor and their concerns, especially the ones he berates and threatens. How do they digest and react in real life? I've always said, I think it would be a fascinating season of television, and I wish they had done that. Like, if Vanderpump Rules with the OG cast had continued, because these producers, they know all of these people. They've worked with them for years and years. I think they do need to open it up and break that fourth wall even more. Like, I want to know, like, where they're at with Jax. I think it would be fascinating. It would be something to try, and I think it would help the audience understand all of this a little bit more. I think we're all adults and we realize we're watching a reality show. So let's talk about it a little bit more. Jay Face says, jealous of everyone who hasn't been in an abusive relationship and can still watch. Ooh. Well, first off, I'm sorry that you obviously were in an abusive relationship. So many people have been and are. And it is very triggering a show like this to watch it that visceral, you know? Christina says maybe Jack's not allowed in Hawaii after the charges from the stolen sunglasses. A very popular opinion. Glenny Linux, I love Glenny, says, why is the Valley? Well, listen, we're close to an apocalypse. I think this is in the Bible, is that, you know, thou shalt be the darkest when the valley riseth in its second season. Holly Go Lightly says, thank you. Loving the recaps. Wish I could listen to the after show recaps. Holly Go Lightly, I'm so sorry. Those are on the Patreon. It's like $5 a month to listen to those, but I totally understand. And that's why I never try to pressure anybody. And I try to give you as long of episodes and as many episodes for free as I possibly can. So I'm totally sorry. I wish you could too. And maybe hopefully someday, but I try to give as much as I can for free where, you know, I mean, the people that join the Patreon, they know that they don't even have to because I put out so much free content. So I'm so sorry. Question. Scheana said there was more to that night with Danny. Do you have the info? I think Danny got really stinking drunk. I mean, I think everybody saw it. I don't know what the more is. I'm sure Scheana will talk about it at some point. She has no problem revealing information. No, I don't know. And I will tell you, just to be honest with you, I don't ask Bravo Celebrities for dirt. I'm not one of the people in Bravo Celebrities DMs. I've asked a couple clarifying questions. just for like not anything of like, hey, Danny, like, but I will ask like, oh, is that what this is or that, but it's never something where it's give me information so I can tease it to the audience. I mean, like I interviewed Emily Simpson from OC this week, and it's just, that's a big storyline this season with Katie Janela reaching out to bloggers and Instagram people and podcasters. And that's just never been me. I don't know. I would feel weird about that. Like if I'm around these people and they just automatically start talking, which has happened before, I'm happy to listen, but I also, I'm not somebody that will reveal their secrets. Unless it's like I killed a man, then I'm like, yeah, I'll go to the cops. Thought, I don't understand why everyone is okay with or likes Kristen. She's the fucking worst. Janet, is this you, Janet? I think Kristen is one of those people that we've gone through the worst with Kristen and we've seen her at her worst. And it's one of those things where like, I always talk about how things come around and people genuinely seem to like Kristen, and she does seem to be in a much better place. And I don't know, that is just my view on the situation, but it is interesting. It's like picking your favorite Beatle. Everybody has somebody that they like the least on this show. Spurna3128 says, do you think Jax is actually sober? Well, I know he wasn't after the first rehab. The second rehab, I do believe he is. And, he says he's been drug tested, and Brittany does drug test him at whim. I don't know if that is just drugs and alcohol as well, or just drugs, but I do believe he is. And that's the thing, is that I do believe him when he says even, the anger is the problem. The rage is the problem. And that it's almost you're treating it with the drugs and alcohol. He still seems just as angry when you see him on TV, but I do think he is sober, but hopefully he is getting the help that he says he's getting, and going to therapy and doing all of these things so he can stay sober. But I don't know. It's really like that kind of issue is very, very hard. Carol says, what is Janet deflecting from? Or is she just trying to create drama to stay relevant? I don't know if deflecting from, like, I don't believe the Jason rumor about the ring. I just think she likes to be in people's business, and I think she knows she's on a reality show. So I think maybe at some point she thinks that she was creating dynamics and calling things out the way she sees them. But I think reality shows are probably a good litmus test if what you think about yourself is actually true, how it comes off to others. And it'll be interesting to see in the third season how that changes her at all. If that changes her at all, or if she doubles down again. So I don't know. Like, I do wonder if anybody has truly changed certain behaviors about themselves from watching their performance on reality TV. I mean, we know Jax hasn't, right? Mother of Cat says, can we roast Janet and her horrible behavior at El Coyote? She's the worst. We did talk about her horrible behavior at El Coyote. It was a horrible, horrible scene. Tamron says, please just dance to VPR theme song. It makes my day. I did that 2 hours ago. Ashley says, what are your honest thoughts on Janet? Like I said, since I know her a little bit, like I've always thought she was really nice. I thought she was very fun and funny and nice. I didn't really have negative thoughts about Janet. She was always really nice. So that's why you watch this, and I'm not ignorant. I know when something comes off bad. Like, she does come off bad in these scenes. So I understand that, but that was just not my experience with Janet. I have not seen Janet in forever, but I also would not like if I also I don't go to the Vanderpump events anymore. And I just get nervous going out anyways. But like, I was invited to Scheana's 40th, and I've been invited to I was invited to Janet and Scheana's billboard thing, which I didn't even see the invite until too late. But I get too nervous about that shit anyways, but I wouldn't be afraid to like hang out with Janet. I'd be afraid to hang out with Janet and have a reality TV show crew around. I'd be like, oh shit, you're about to throw me under the bus. But I'm realistic in that, yes, that does not look good. So I hope that's honesty for you. Whittleworth says, Janet making the excuse she had too much to drink and acted inappropriately was rich. It was. I don't even know how to pronounce this name. We all need to band together and get Jax off TV. Like, actually. You really, like, we should all meet up someplace? Like, should we meet up at like a park or something and then just march over to the 32 Flavors offices or like Bravo headquarters? If we can get 1,000 of, could you imagine? Oh my God. I mean, we do have the right to peacefully protest, or maybe we don't anymore. Who knows? Chronically, Katie says Scheana and Tom Schwartz need to be full-time. Schwartz sounding board for Jax. I mean, it is true. I think if they do bring Jax back, it guarantees Schwartz will have a job for another season because it's one of the only people that like speaks Jax and will still hang out with him and film with him. So I think they're both obviously definitely coming back. Who knows if they'll get moved to full-time or not. I don't know what the point of Lala, though, is at this point. I don't know. And I'm not even saying that because I've disagreed with Lala in the past and how she's moved on the reality show. I just don't know what role she would fill. But Alex Baskin teased in that article I recapped last Friday is that it does seem like there will be changes to this cast. Kim says, so dark. Jax is giving O.J. Simpson vibes. I worry for Brittany. He is cray. I mean, that's the thing, you know? I mean, I will say O.J. Simpson, the deal with him, though, was his public persona was like, hey, it's me, OJ, what's going on? Like always happy-go-lucky and like just real popular guy and just good humored guy. Like remember OJ in the Naked Gun movies? But then OJ had a very dark side. Like he was beating Nicole, all of this stuff. And Jax wears his dark side, it seems like, on his sleeve. I'm not trying to make excuses for Jax, but I understand what you're saying. That's just the thing that this season has got me questioning is, can you really risk it? Marla Goddamn Singer says Jax and Fanet are ruining the show. What about Jesse? Jesse's not ruining the show. Everybody on the show is ruining the show. Sue says, do you think the show can get less dark? Even at its worst, housewives do silly things. I will say, like the Beverly Hills, that second season I keep referring to was so dark, but there was still funny elements to it that I appreciated. And I was rewatching Scary Island this weekend, and that was hysterical, even though there was elements of darkness. I don't know. I don't know if this cast can genuinely have a good time together. So I don't know if it can get less dark. And I think if they tried to make it less dark and it wasn't natural, you would feel that immediately, and then we'd complain about that. Yes, it's Erica says, dude, what about Love Island? I'm thinking they're going to be on Traitors. Oh, you think like they're getting rid of certain people to put them on this season of Traitors? That's interesting, but they're already 2 weeks into filming the Traitors, and it's only, I believe, a 3-week to a month shoot. So I don't necessarily believe that, but I love where your head's at. We do know Rob from Love Island season 5 is filming the Traitors. So I love where your head's at, but I don't think that's happening, but I love it. Ask Mark Ward says, at what point do we as an audience stop excusing toxicity, whether it's reality or not? Mark, I ask myself this question every show now. I don't know. And I feel like, I don't know if that's asking too much of an audience. I don't know. I mean, my thing is, if we are feeling this bad, we stop watching. Maybe we watch just fictional storytelling on TV. Maybe we get more into movies. I don't know. I ask myself that a lot. I always think, and I was talking this weekend at the Vegas trip, I was talking to Crystal Minkoff about this, because she was like, why, what is it with reality TV? Why do you love it? And I was, I've gone through phases of reality TV, but it is hard. And I'll talk about other things that light me up, like music or movies or like TV shows that aren't reality shows. And I love those a lot too. And it's, sometimes I'm like, oh man, I wish I could go back and just do a movie podcast. But I don't know, Mark. I don't know. And it's like 12:30 in the morning right now. So I don't think I'm going to figure it out tonight, but let me know if you have any suggestions. Megan says, wish Janet was out and Sandoval was in. Bite your tongue. We're now pulling Sandoval in and to replace Janet? What's up, dude? Oh, dude, I heard Megan's comment. It made my day. What a week. America's Got Talent and this comment, dude. Chelsea says, I think girls with daddy issues have a visceral reaction to Jax because it's like watching dad. That's interesting. I'm not going to argue that. Mon Farrell says, do you think now Bravo will finally fire Jax with all of the rightful public outrage? I don't really think, I hate to break this to you. I don't think public outrage does as much as people think it does. I think if the right ratings slide, that would actually show something. If you do stop watching it, I think they will. That does give them permission to make big moves. Jen says, I'm thinking the men's circle with Scott should be a permanent thing. Yeah, me too. I hope they start every episode of The Valley with a men's circle, or just in the show, the men's circle every week. It's Jenna Rosa says, it seems like the show has gone to Janet's head. Do you think it's changed her for the worse? I don't know. I think if anything, I remember seeing her for the first, you know what? Now I do. I remember seeing her for the first time in December at Kathy Hilton's holiday party that DirecTV did. And it was the first time I'd seen Janet in a long time. And I was just like, hey, how did the season go? Was it worse? Was it, and she was like, I don't think it was bad. I mean, it was something like, I think it was pretty bad again. And I think she's a human being, whether you think she is or not. I think she does read everything still. I think it probably has rocked her a little bit. That's just my opinion. I don't know that for sure, but I can't imagine how it would not, if that makes sense. I don't know. And I hope I don't know if she did that in I didn't listen to the Nick Viall interview. I just saw like a write up about it, but I don't know if she's talked about how it really has affected her. I would be very curious about the reality of that. Naomi says, how does someone rent a condo when they are not paying for their mortgage? I don't know, Naomi. I do not know. That is a great question. How do you give somebody, like somebody's not paying their mortgage of like, yep, you passed the credit check. How did that even happen? Schwartz, I need to borrow your credit. Come on, man. Benny the Jet says, no one puts Nia in the corner. She's an angel. She is an angel. She does come off like an angel. I'm very interested to find more out about Nia. And I think Nia is very pure. I do agree with that. Says Janet isn't even enjoyable to watch. She's just mean. Janet and Jason are the worst and cause all the problems. God, this is like just 5 Janet things in a row. Janet just sucks, trying too hard for camera time. Do you think she's trying too hard for camera time, or do you think this is how she is in that friend group? That was my question sometimes. Knock Vicky says Jackson needs to go. Toxic. Well, we ended on a positive note. There was a couple more, but oh man, I can't do it anymore. Okay, so one last thing before we go to leave you with tonight. Let's go over the cast of The Valley and talk through who has issues with who and who is still willing to film with who, and let's see if we can make heads or tails of this. Okay, so Brittany Cartwright. Brittany, obviously not good with Jax. I think she's okay with Kristen Doute. I think she's okay with Jessie Lally, but not her favorite. I think she's okay with Daniel. I think she's okay with Nia. I think she's okay with Michelle. I think she's okay with Janet. I think she's okay with Jason. I think she's okay with Jasmine. I think she's okay with Luke. I think she's okay with Zach. And okay, that's Brittany. So Brittany, I think, is okay with everybody except for Jax. Now, Jax is not okay with Brittany. Jax is sort of okay with Doute. Jax is okay with Jessie, but I think we'd throw him under the bus in a second. Jax says he's okay with Danny, but throws Danny under the bus. If you listen to the last week's episode, Jax, I don't think, Jax and Nia, I don't think Jax considers people without 3 seasons of reality TV under their belt an actual person. Jax, I really don't know how he feels about Michelle, but I could see him bad mouthing her for Jessie. Jax, I don't think likes Janet. Jax is great with Jason. Jax is whatever with Jasmine, and I think Jax is finally sort of warmed up to Luke. Now, Kristen Doute. Kristen is okay with Brittany. Kristen is sort of okay with Jax. Kristen's great with Jessie. Kristen loves Danny. Kristen loves Nia. Kristen does not like Michelle anymore. Kristen does not like Janet. Kristen likes Jason, but doesn't like Jason with Janet. Kristen's okay with Jasmine, and Kristen loves Luke, and Kristen's okay with Zach. Jessie Lally. Jessie is okay with Brittany, but feels like she's too hard on Jax. Jessie's okay with Jax. Jessie loves Kristen. Jessie's okay with Daniel. Jessie's okay with Nia. Jessie hates Michelle. Has Jessie said anything about Janet directly? Jessie's okay with Jason. Jessie's okay with Jasmine. Jessie's okay with Luke. And Jessie is starting to warm up with Zach. Danny Booko, okay with Brittany, okay with Jax, even though I think that's going to change more and more as we head towards the reunion. Daniel's great with Kristen. Daniel's okay with Jessie. Daniel's okay with Nia, his wife. Daniel's okay with Michelle. Daniel is not okay with Janet. Daniel's not okay with Jason, but wants to be okay with Jason. Daniel is okay with Jasmine. Daniel's great with Luke, and Daniel is fine with Zach. Nia is great with everybody except for Janet and a little bit of Michelle, I think. But I think she's good with everybody else. Michelle Lally. Okay with Brittany, even though she thinks Brittany's getting the majority of the attention with the Jack stuff when she needs help with Jesse. Michelle is not good with Doute. Michelle is not good with Jesse. Michelle is whatever with Danny. I think Michelle's whatever with Nia. Michelle loves Janet. Michelle likes Jason. Michelle's good with Jasmine, I think. Michelle is good. I don't know what she feels about Luke, but it's in there with Doute, so I think Michelle's like whatever, and Michelle is okay with Zach. Janet's good with Brittany. Janet is better to Jax than she should be, but I don't think she loves Jax. Janet is not good with Doute. Janet not good with Jesse. Janet not obviously good with Danny. Janet not good with Nia. Janet good with Michelle. Janet good with Jason. Janet sort of good with Jasmine, but wasn't good with Jasmine a couple of episodes ago. Janet not good with Luke. And Janet started getting better with Zach, but I think that's going to not stay for long. Jason's good with Brittany. Jason's good with Jax. Jason's okay with Doute. Jason's okay with Jesse. Jason's not okay with Daniel. Jason's whatever with Nia. Jason's okay with Michelle. Jason's okay with good with Janet. Jason's not good with Jasmine. Very hurt, but looking for that to be better. Jason is okay with Luke, I believe, and Jason is good with Zach. Jasmine, I think, is good with everybody except for Janet. And I don't think she loves Jax, but seems like she puts up with Jax. Luke seems to be good with everybody except for Janet and Jason. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. So that's our cast. That's like what we have. What are the interconnected, Janet does seem to be the one with the most problems with the cast. Jax, weirdly enough, is second place in like the most conflict with direct cast members. And remember, we have not seen Jax nearly as much. I mean, imagine if Jax was getting like the full-time cast member edit. He's getting like scenes here and there. So that is interesting. Anyways, you guys, another very long episode. Thank you. I know I was a little wacky today, but I appreciate you being here. If you like the show, consider giving it 5 stars on Apple Pods and Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. I appreciate you subscribing. And that's it. Have a great Thursday, folks. Bye.